built a ladder to heaven.
Where were you?
I really do want to go look and find Saturn.
Did you not find it the other night?
It's fucking, I live by a goddamn shopping center with so much light pollution.
You know, there's a Saturn Road that cuts through the middle of Garland, Texas.
Oh.
I never thought about that.
Jesus.
It's right here.
For our Dallas episode, the 33rd Parallel.
Hey, everybody.
Oh.
How you doing?
Hi.
My name's Mike. I'm your host of Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. And before I introduce my co-hosts, I just want to say that we're going to talk about some potentially dark stuff today. It reminds me of something my grandma told me. It's always better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. She also told me a stiff prick has no conscience. And bearing that in mind, I'd like to introduce two of the most conscientious guys I know.
The stiffest prick you might know? Yeah. Spencer Lowry here, everybody. How you doing?
Christopher B. Wells, researcher.
Esquire.
No, I'm not.
I meant like Ted Theodore Logan in the way that he...
But Esquire means lawyer.
Yeah.
I only hire lawyers
But Bill and Ted
when I can
aren't
afford
lawyers.
it, or when I'm appointed them. Actually,
Only the...
Make evil robot us's.
God damn, that'd be great.
Check out the station's ass. So yeah, today we are covering a huge topic. Hopefully we can get it all in one. God, I hope we can
This
get it all in
whole
one.
thing,
Please let us get it all
this
in one.
whole thing is a deep, dirty triple C all over the place.
I was pissed off after we'll get into it. Today we're covering the Saturn Death Cult. But before we get into all that, we're going to do a little What's Weird this week.
Are you going to throw in the All That theme song for that?
I could maybe throw a tab. Just a tab.
Yeah.
Just enough to not get sued.
It's all that.
All right, who's first? Me?
This one's a doozy.
This one's a bit of a doozy. This is hot off the goddamn presses. Fucking breaking hot-ass news, though y'all will probably hear it about 2 days later when it's not as hot. But I heard it in the car ride home, and it kind of pertains to our topic today. And it is a little conspiratorial. Well, I'm going conspiratorial with it. But it involves the Illuminati's token black guy. The guy that sacrificed his best friend for fame.
The Jackie Robinson of the Illuminati.
He is also the Jackie. I love that you put it like that. But this man, allegedly, sacrificed Notorious B.I.G., Christopher Wallace, Biggie Smalls, just for his fame.
Yep.
And today, breaking news, his house in L.A. and Miami was raided by U.S. Homeland Security for alleged sex trafficking investigation.
The fuck?
This is Diddy, by the way.
He goes by Diddy now. Like, I don't know.
He might change it again after this.
Another celebrity from our youth falling from grace.
Sean Puffy Combs.
Holy shit!
This is via CNN because it was the closest one, or the most recently updated one as of 43 minutes ago. Search warrant activity at homes belonging to musician and producer Sean Diddy Combs. I hate that he's just Diddy now. On Monday is related to an ongoing sex trafficking investigation. A law enforcement source told CNN the source would not specify whether Combs himself was the specific target, citing the sensitive nature of the investigation. I don't need to read all this, but
I do know that him and R. Kelly have done some work together.
Well, all right.
Drip, drip, drip.
I'm gonna go with what the reality probably is, and it's he probably hires a bunch of sex workers, as the artist formerly known as hookers, to hang out at his pads and stuff, and that is sex trafficking. That's how they got down. That's actually how they took down Lucky Luciano.
True.
Interstate.
I think it's called the Mann Act.
Yeah, if you take a sex worker across state lines, or if you do it in bulk, which you know,
Over in the Whole Foods aisle.
Kirkland's.
he throws those white parties. You know, they gotta have the ladies.
Oh, I just remembered that he did all those commercials for acne medication.
Oh yeah, he did.
Oh, that puts a weird, sinister spin
But-
on things, too.
The other sinister spin, and it leads to the deep Illuminati connections and allegations, is that Diddy, as of this morning, I lost my little reference thing that showed the time and the plane number, but his jet left for the Caribbean this morning.
Yeah.
Right
What the fuck?
before the U.S. Homeland Security federal agents stormed 2 mansions on both coasts.
Doesn't look guilty at all.
Doesn't he got a heads up, because that's what happens when you're in the Illuminati. But
Yeah.
my personal speculation, if it is an Illuminati thing, he's the scapegoat, he's the fall guy, he's the black guy.
Yeah.
He gets a call. Hey, you know, now would be a good time to go check out the Bahamas. You know what I'm saying?
I think it was Aruba, actually.
Aruba. Yeah.
Bahama.
Jamaica, come on, pretty mama.
Yeah. But this is hot. This is hot news. I mean, TMZ is covering it, you know?
The
Big
press.
guns.
Yeah, the big fucking guns. Actually, it's really on every goddamn news network. I mean, they had SWAT teams.
Why would he leave
Uh,
if he's innocent? Like,
because
Maybe he just already had a trip planned.
nobody wants to go into custody. And also, it looks better when you turn yourself in later.
That's true.
If you just happen to be like, well, I was already getting on a plane, but then you and your lawyer turn yourself in, it makes it look a lot better, and also you can have bond hearing arranged, so you could just kind of leave immediately. Same thing Trump did.
legalese.
Yeah, you set it up.
Taking a page out of that book. Huh?
Yeah, you set yourself up for the turn in so that it's like a catch and release until the court
Yeah.
day.
Look how honest and by the rule book I am.
It does make you look a lot better.
Yeah, human trafficking is one of those things that, I don't know, you get arrested for that. I don't think there's any real wiggle room for reinterpretation of,
But you know my conspiracy fucking pages are going to be going off the chain about the celebrity that's being arrested for sex trafficking.
Yeah, I thought he wrote it, but Misty corrected me earlier.
That book you were talking about.
Yeah, he's strongly associated with a book called The Adrenochrome Witch, which is supposedly...
So did he... But he was on the cover.
Yeah. I think he was the producer.
He's a producer. He's a producer.
I bet there's pictures of him dancing all throughout it.
Actually, publisher. At that point, you're a publisher.
This book, The Adrenochrome Witch, sells for ridiculous fucking amounts of money. I think it's only like 75 pages or some shit.
But it's $75. That's $1 a page. It was Misty. How much was that? One was 100, one was 1,000.
Yeah.
I'm guessing the bootleg's 100.
Probably. Yeah.
The signed copy is 1,000.
Yeah. No. Probably just the real. I mean,
But yeah, there's supposedly true stories about ritualistic Hollywood bullshit. So
I did not even know that until you just told me that. Because again today, for when how I normally do my what's weird for the week, the news article. Sometimes I catch it from an early time, but this one wasn't while I was at work today. This was on the ride home. Actually, it was at the last left turn. Before when I was sitting at a stoplight, I'm fucking on my phone looking for fucking news articles, and I was like, boom, there it is. Hooray.
tough acted, tenacted.
Yeah, tough acted, tenacted.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll follow this story and keep you guys abreast of what's going on.
But you'll probably already know because it's
Yeah.
it's P. Diddy.
It's Padiddy.
P. Diddy.
Do you want to go next?
Yeah, I'll go. My article, California man arrested for allegedly taking leg of person killed by train. A couple of days ago in California, Bakersfield, which is like the Garland, Texas of California.
Yeah.
If you're familiar.
The Dwight Yoakam's version of the Streets of Bakersfield is a great fucking song.
Basically, around 8 a.m., there was a man that I've heard different accounts, possibly a suicide. A fella jumped in front of an Amtrak,
Oh, shit.
cut himself into pieces. And this guy, this opportunist, Rosendo Tellez, maybe
Lean
they
hungry fella.
Maybe he didn't get his pancakes that morning, and 27-year-old Rosendo Tellez came up. He just happened to be in the right place at the wrong time. So he's like, hey, and he picks up the fucking leg, a chunk of human leg of this poor fuck, and then he walks around. He's seen on a video taking a bite out of it.
Oh, he's munching on it.
And it's just like a ragged. It's like a piece of a leg. It's not like a cartoon.
The
leg.
one that I saw,
like,
it was blurred, but yeah.
And then shortly that you see him take a bite, wipe the blood, and fucking viscera off his fucking face, and then cops start swarming him. And he's like, ah, like waving the leg at him, like, stand back, you fucking bitches, like brandishing it almost like a weapon, and then, that's the end of the video. The guy gets taken down. He apparently had warrants, which they're holding him under. Just a homeless fellow, I believe.
Jeez, man. That's, we got quite a lot of videos of homeless people eating other people.
That is very reminiscent of the one that they said there was the K2 or bath salts.
Yeah.
That was an alive man, though. This guy just happened, from what I saw, like, I looked it up when you told me that, and I saw that it was a suicide victim from a train, and the body was just mutilated by a train. But it's like, who? I mean, well... this is Bakersfield.
This is enough leg meat to last all week.
It makes me... Now I want to write a new version of the Streets of Bakersfield song. Jesus.
Yeah, and apparently less than a week earlier, a homeless fella, brought a human hand into the homeless shelter where the same guy hails from.
Did they find the person whose hand it was?
They didn't, and there was no report of a hand being missing.
That's usually something you'll want to report if it's your own.
Yeah, there would be something. There would be something about hands being severed, something. But there wasn't anything in the blotter on the scanners about that. So this guy just walked in with a fucking hand, and then less than a week later, this guy's munching on some fucking human hand bone.
The guy who had the hand, went to the same homeless shelter as the dude who ate the leg.
See, now that's the okay. Here's my theory. Here's my theory. The guy brought the hand. He fucking told his other...
some of this.
He told... Everyone got addicted to the human meat. It's the adrenochrome in there. It's addictive.
It's the hunger. They got Wendigo psychosis now.
It's like, man, a hand's good for an appetizer, but I want the main course.
You get that thigh meat.
Because it was a whole thigh, and it seemed like it was a whole leg from at least...
And there was skin hanging off of it. You can kind of see behind the blur, ugh.
It looked big enough for mid-thigh down.
Yeah, it's probably the femur section.
So that's probably
that makes me want a turkey.
Look, if I was going to eat a human...
Aren't those good?
The thigh is probably the meatiest, most... Then again, I don't know. Maybe the ribs. I don't know. It depends on the weight of the person. I don't want nobody with abs. They're gonna
give me a thigh or an ass.
Yeah. Something that's got packing a little fucking...
rump roast.
You get the fat. It's like a brisket. It's slowly...
Marbleization. It's like when you go to pick out a steak.
And it bastes itself, basically, as it roasts. But we're talking sashimi here. This is cut by an expert Amtrak train driver.
That was probably Union Pacific, actually.
Delivered on a steel platform on a train station for this guy to just happen to walk by. He's like, hey, I'll take that.
Hey, man, if they had electrified rails, might have even cooked it a little too.
It might have, yeah.
Yeah, but you don't... well, no. You do sear a steak. You just sear it.
Yeah, black and blue they call it. You just caramelize the outside, get that Maillard reaction, that unctuous.
I still think human would probably be best low and slow.
Oh yeah, crock pot for sure.
We're like pork, long pig.
Yeah.
Low and slow.
Man.
Well, they say barbecue was originally invented as a method to cook human meat because human meat is like the toughest, stringiest, especially in adults. Now we're not talking little infants; those are like veal. Yeah, it's like a flaky fish. But like adult humans, the only way to enjoy the meat, to make it where you can even chew it with your teeth, is low and slow. Break down the collagen and connective tissue.
Dude,
got lip smacking.
I have always wanted to try human meat. And
I ate part of my thumb once.
I attribute it to several causes. I read the
Hannibal
book a while back. The movie Ravenous, and then the Hannibal TV show that
Ravenous is a good fucking
Ravenous
movie.
Is great.
Yeah.
I've never watched the Hannibal series because it was like an NBC thing, and I thought it'd be weird.
It was pretty good.
Was it?
Yeah, it's very foodie oriented, and he's constantly cooking, and you don't know if it's human meat, but all the food looks so fucking good in it.
Yeah, it's alluded.
Wait a minute, Spencer, you just said you ate a piece of your thumb?
Oh, I thought you'd never come back to me. Well, I was chopping something. I was working, well, I won't say the name of the establishment, but I cut about a good 3 millimeters off the tip of my thumb. And I was like, well, shit. And I threw it in the deep fryer, basically, fried it up until it stopped bubbling, you know. And
Yeah, it's probably
like
good that you didn't say the name of the establishment.
Yeah, it was like a little Spencer rind, you know, like a chicharron.
This story went somewhere I did not expect it to go at all.
There wasn't enough to it. Like I needed a bigger bite, but
I'd eat human.
I've
really
resorted
say
to
the flavor.
cannibalism.
If it was
technically.
ethically sourced human, I would eat it.
Yeah, there's a one called Fresh on Netflix. It's about a surgeon who like kidnaps women and
Oh,
slowly
it's like a real story, right?
cuts meat off of them and like surgically like keeps them alive and keeps them from getting infected, so he could just hack another piece off later.
Holy shit.
And he sells the meat to perverts around the
Wait,
world.
was this a real story? Or?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because the guy who wrote
Well,
Hannibal...
that's not ethically sourced.
The guy who wrote Hannibal finally came out and said who was the real-life influence on Hannibal, and it was this Mexican surgeon. I forget his name, but he was like a renowned surgeon, and everyone in the village loved him or whatever.
No shit.
And it turned out that he had like chopped up some people and ate some of them a little bit.
I don't know. I loved Hannibal Lecter. Like I read all the books were great.
Dude, he's one of the main, I would say, characters of the 21st century. Like he's like really up there. Yeah.
Fava beans.
Fava's #1. Yeah, if I ever get like locked overnight in a Subway or a Whataburger, I'm gonna have to eat everyone in there. So, anywho,
Yeah, because you gotta stay away from the tuna, and you get hungry, you gotta eat something.
Yeah, that tuna's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't eat the tuna.
so I got a story here about what's happening at Fort Liberty, more popularly known as Fort Bragg. Now, keep in mind, Fort Bragg is not just a military base; it's also the name of the town. But they all changed it to Fort Liberty because Bragg was apparently the name of a Confederate soldier of some sort. So that happened. But there has been quite a few deaths at Fort Bragg. And this is mostly on the military installation. See, I got an article here from Black Iron Prison. What's happening at Fort Bragg? In August 2021. Rolling Stone published an article about the 44 Fort Bragg soldiers who died stateside between 2020 and 2021. We now know that that number was closer to 100. Several of these deaths were homicides, and some were incredibly violent. One soldier was decapitated. In 2022, Rolling Stone followed up another article about overdoses at Fort Bragg. And that's just from, let's see here. That's just what is mentioned in Rolling Stone. Let me check this timeline here. 2018, March 21st, Delta Force member Master Sergeant William Levine III murders Mark Leshikar, a fellow Special Forces soldier and allegedly Levine's best friend, in front of Leshikar's 5-year-old daughter. Levine was not charged. Private Second Class Caleb Smithers found decomposing in his barracks room. He was dead for about 5 days before being found.
God damn.
Private Jamie Boger is found unresponsive, quote-unquote, in his barracks and proclaimed dead. May 23rd, Specialist Enrique Roman Martinez was killed and decapitated while camping. His body was never recovered. The 7 soldiers who last saw Roman Martinez were court-martialed on other charges, including making false statements and using LSD. But the case is currently classified as cold. And by the way, for those who don't know, Fort Bragg was also the location of a very famous murder that took place. A military surgeon back in the 70s killed his family and said that hippies broke in, and they were like satanic hippies or whatever, and he had this whole fucking cockamamie story when really it was him. This list goes on. There's quite a few. The prevailing overall theory with all of this is that there is some serious fucking drug dealing going on in Fort Bragg, because most of those, like that 44 to 100 deaths I mentioned earlier that took place in 2020 are predominantly overdoses or
suicide.
Yeah, suicide. Like just
I believe our buddy T Money
yeah
was at Bragg, and that was also where his experience overseas caught up to him, and
at Fort Bragg,
and then he
Yeah.
left. That's in First Blood. I wish I was back at Bragg now.
What? Don't Look at Me, Little Puppy. That one? Oh no, Rambo.
No, not Blood In, Blood Out. Rambo. First
Get a
Blood.
job parking cars.
Give me some chung chung, white bitch. No.
White bitch, give me some chon chon.
No. Rambo, First Blood.
Yeah.
And when he's talking to the dude, and the dude's like,
Bo Grits.
back at Bragg. He's like, I wish I was back at Bragg now.
Yeah. They think that the overall, like, prevailing theory is that there's some serious drug dealing going on. And a lot of these deaths were also, like, special forces dudes, too. Like, so there's some shady shit going on, that's for certain.
The harder you kill, the harder you party.
Yeah, pretty much.
And vice versa, I'm sure.
Because you gotta drink away a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I definitely don't want to say anything disparaging about our soldiers.
Absolutely
we have
not.
buddies who've
Nope.
been over there.
Absolutely not.
But I mean, the predominant demographics over there are young men who also, like, they've probably got, like, decent money for the first time in their lives.
Yeah.
And also, yes, you have PTSD issues and things like that. So I could totally see a fucking drug ring taking off big time if
yeah, well,
that were the
especially
case.
now with all the synthetic drugs that don't show up on their drug test.
Oh,
Yeah, and
shit.
people trying to solve their problems on their own because the VFW isn't giving them
self-medicating.
the help they need.
Yeah,
That's the
a
big
problem
thing
as well.
because with all the same thing with fucking K2, all that shit. The reason people use those, what did we dump?
No, I just
Oh.
K2.
Oh, okay.
It's
All right. No, like it's the same thing. People were using that in prison, military, anywhere where you get constant drug test probation.
just because they're not looking for it.
It's because
It's not detectable.
It's
yeah.
well, they're detectable. It's just most of your tests don't detect for that stuff. Like you got
the 5
5-panel, 7-panel, 12-panel. It goes up and up, but they just have to keep adding panels. And the more panels, the more expensive it is. And also, they constantly change the molecules of these drugs, and the metabolites that your body produces from these are what's detectable in your urine. So a lot of that stuff is not detectable until it becomes a problem, and then they add it.
Yeah. Okay. Huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those are the worst fucking drugs because they're not old hands like fucking goddamn cocaine and heroin and fucking all.
Yeah, you know what?
Every time you tweak a molecule, who the fuck knows what's going to happen?
It's all exactly.
K2 is a perfect example. Of that.
I smoked it like when I was on probation in 2009.
It's like PCP.
How many people did you eat?
It was fucking like I didn't eat anybody, but then I had it when it was supposed to be still close to a marijuana analog.
Yeah.
They
I think I
changed
tried
it
around that time,
They
too.
changed it like 1,000 times since then.
Like
Yeah, almost monthly they would change the formula.
And then
I smoked it once before, and it looked like it had little pieces of styrofoam in it and shit.
well, because
Fly by night.
they just spray it on anything that you could smoke.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, I've had some that had like this yellow powder that fell off of it. You know.
Yeah, it's
like
just in the feds they had people were getting you just smoke the paper. They just spray it on paper and you smoke the paper. And look, I saw a lot of dudes fall out and hit the bathroom floor. The place you never
Yeah, I've
want to
seen-
be is a prison bathroom floor.
Yeah. I've seen some.
It's pretty bad.
Some homeless individuals
And-
back when I was
ooh.
working downtown that
Yeah.
had no. So I hope you're listening, kids.
Don't do those
Don't
things.
do K2. Smoke regular weed. If you need some help, call us or email us.
Actually, you should probably
And what's that
call
email,
her.
Chris?
I mean, kooksandcranks@gmail.com.
Yeah.
There we
But really, that's if you just want somebody fun afterward. If you need real help, seek help.
Yeah. I was gonna say call
Seek help.
988, but I think they're changing the number.
Google's your friend.
Yeah. Also, before we close out on what's weird this week, I'm putting a bit of I guess a call to action out there, more or less, for lack of a better term.
Ooh, what do we got?
If anyone out there speaks either Polish, Portuguese, or French, I'm looking for some help with translating some potential research materials. If you can offer a substantial amount of help in that realm, I will find some way of remuneration of some sort.
We're looking at our Belgian listeners, especially.
Yeah.
Holler out to all our Belgian fans.
I know we got at least one of y'all out there. So, like I said, kooksandcranks@gmail.com. Let us know if that's something you can maybe help out with. And, that's what's weird this week. Alrighty, so let's jump into our main topic for the day.
Oh, wait, are we going now?
What
Yeah.
shit is this?
Oh, man.
Today, we're
Nerd alert.
discussing the Saturn Death Cult. And, man, I don't know where to start or where to begin. All the way at the dawn of creation of bullshit.
as the conspiracy researcher, you know, that's my specialty. Well, kind of, sort of.
I'll give it to you.
Yeah,
I'll allow it.
I am officially now a alternative history researcher.
Alternative truther.
Yeah, I'm a truther. I just seek the truth out there.
Call yourself
No,
Don't call yourself a truther.
No, I know I'm not. That's fucking stupid. But no, I did have to go into this research, and I went in a little hard.
Truth is like subjective, man.
I got flaccid as fuck real quick.
Yeah,
Definitely lose your wood. Yeah.
I really thought this was going to be different. I thought there was going to be some new meat on this bone.
There really is. There is.
There
Don't discredit it entirely because the bone, like, that's the thing. Okay, this is not a bone with meat on it. This is a stew.
Yeah.
It is a stew or possibly a chili.
Chili! Red hot Texas style chili!
Take the leg of a suicided homeless man. As mentioned earlier.
All right, so
a lot of people have jumped on this bandwagon, for lack of a better term, but they've added to it. The Saturn Death Cult, largely, I think, like, we've done a lot of research on this, not only by reading books, but also listening to podcasts. And I will say that the vast majority of podcasts that at least I listen to, and I think you guys too, they spend way too much time on the cosmology aspect.
Half the ones we found
because it falls apart after that.
Our main source for this was Troy D. McLaughlin.
Yes.
Not related to Sarah McLaughlin.
Not Sarah McLaughlin.
It's spelled different. But that guy was on half the podcast that you could find.
This is the originator. Well, not maybe the...
He's the
guy who sewed it all together and wrote the book, Saturn Death Cult.
He's the guy that put the meat in the chili.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
The guy that wrote...
He took the meat off the bone and put it in the chili. There we go.
Who was the first one? Who was the tomato base? The guy from 1980. Talbot.
But this can go a little farther back because a lot of the cosmology that this is set up on is based off the electric universe theory.
Jesus Christ, the electric universe.
Yeah, and then Immanuel Velikovsky, who was a guy who came up with an alternative cosmology, and I think, I may have this wrong, but I think he's also the guy who talks about phantom time hypothesis.
Velikovsky put the pot on the stove and put water in it, okay? And then Talbot...
He roasted the chilies.
He put the tomato base in there.
Oh, he's the tomato base.
He's the tomato base.
Who's the chili guy then?
Well, I think
dried chilies.
I think like McLaughlin. No. Well, the spice doesn't come until later. Okay, McLaughlin probably put in the meat base, and then
the demi-glace.
After that, then you get all the and McLaughlin, he went back twice because I started version 1 of this book that came out in 2011.
2011 was the first edition. 2018 was an updated
That was the
edition.
1 alarm, and then he upped it to 2 alarm with the second book.
Yeah, but then, okay, for me...
Everything's chili.
Everything's chili.
Chili Willy.
But then you got these guys that my original knowledge of the Saturn cult was on Reddit. And it was on a page called Saturn Storm Cube. I just stumbled upon... not knowing anything about any of this stuff, and I couldn't make heads or tails of any of this shit except that the Jews were involved.
Yeah.
They show like business logos and like, see?
Yeah.
See,
those guys throw in the spicy peppers.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they're the ones put too much salt and too much goddamn Carolina Reaper in the motherfucking chili.
Yeah.
Bernie's butt blaster.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't remember when they first found out that the North Pole of Saturn has that hexagonal blackish storm cloud on it.
Cube.
Which is provable. It actually is there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And allegedly, like, I've looked at one source that said, like, the ancients knew this somehow.
Yeah, the ancients knew that, and they somehow knew that the rings were there.
Yeah.
We haven't even gone into the cosmology yet.
I specifically... texted one of y'all so I could go back to it to basically
the golden age.
But yeah, just sort of throw it all together as best I could.
Well, no, the Purple Dawn was before the Golden Age.
Yes, that okay. So
yeah,
And this cosmology, which is a little...
And I hit up Neil Tyson DeGrasse. He didn't hit me back. So we're just going on.
He's usually really good about answering emails.
Yeah, he's, I don't know, he's got a thing. He's in one of his moods or something.
Ever since Cosmos.
And then I tried to channel fucking
britches.
Carl Sagan, and, it didn't fucking work.
Yeah,
Millions and billions. I put together the most succinct just summary of the cosmology behind this as I could. And what you have to keep in mind also is that according to Sarah McLachlan, the cosmology and mythology of the ancient world align because all these stories in mythology are meant to be sort of subconscious regurgitations or memories of these catastrophes that took place aeons ago.
Woven in with like a moral kind of teaching. Yeah.
May I read in the overview intro to Saturn Death Cult?
Sure.
All right. This is by Sarah McLachlan, Troy D. McLachlan, as he is. I define the Saturn Death Cult as the accumulated historical legacy.
Legolas.
I'm thinking about this goddamn meat leg and how delicious it would be.
Chili.
The accumulated historical legacies of those occult and criminal agendas and organizations that seek justifications for their actions and existence based on a corrupted interpretation of Saturnarian myth and lore. There are many such agendas and organizations. This e-booklet is, because he said it would cost too much to publish it on paper, but anyway, therefore, an alternative natural history of the planet Saturn as an explanation for the emergence of fearful rituals and agendas believed by many to be practiced and promoted by occult elites.
Yeah.
The world over. It makes an intuitive attempt to link warped mythology, inspired sex murder blood rites, to the rise of the financial system dedicated to promoting a form of debt slavery as means of maintaining said elites in their positions of power.
Yeah, that's
This guy's got fucking debt problems. He wrote this shit. He
I didn't think this was going to be
really
like,
hates bankers.
the Jews did it, but it's another one of those.
He won't. He does never. He never. And we'll get into it later. We'll get into it later.
So
Talking about the cosmology.
Yeah, the main reason that we wanted to get into this too was because it's allegedly a fucking whole explanation as to why the powers that be, the Illuminati, whatever you're gonna call it, sacrifice children and do weird fucked up sex rituals.
Grab the children! Save the children!
And there was none of that, really. I mean, they mention it, I talk about it, but
I don't know. I think it does kind of tie it together, sort of. It does.
He's got a cohesive narrative, but a lot of it is
skimmed over. It's skimmed over. It's skimmed over and questionable.
I do like, however, that he says this is sort of a intuitive sort of thing. He's not saying that all of this stuff that happened through prehistory and history are necessarily... that maybe the powers that be, or the people who think they're the powers that be, are subconsciously influenced by this.
Yes.
It's not that they are necessarily consciously aware of what they're doing, necessarily, or what powers they're fucking with.
But he's skimmed over it, yeah.
See, I was...
like he'd skim the fat off of the chili.
I still was never sure... all cards on the table... I did not get to finish the book because I was skimming over so much other random shit on this.
Yeah, he even put in like the new third part in the 2018, he was like, people kept asking for like an expose and they wanted me to name names.
Yeah.
There's not enough tits and ass in it, basically. And
I did listen to multiple interviews with him, and it's like he almost doesn't fully subscribe to his own bullshit. So it's
very much a theory.
He presents it as a theory. So that is the only thing that I can respect about this man and this author, is that he presents the whole thing as an actual theory.
Yeah, the Saturn theory.
Yeah, it's a theory.
That's what it's referred to a lot.
And it's based off the electric universe theory, and then the Saturn theory, and then it goes into the elite theory. Like, it's just all that. He never says that, oh, you're a fucking idiot for not believing this.
He's trying to make a grand unified theory of conspiracy
and alternative.
But you know what? So many people have bitten onto this and fucking ran with it.
Oh yeah, and that's what actually got me interested, is because of the weird just how popular this got. So,
But
we're
you know what? The chili at the end of the day causes diarrhea.
Oh yeah, it always does.
No, not if you make a good chili.
So, like we said, he sort of built off the theories of Immanuel Velikovsky, and the cosmology, or I should say alternative cosmology, and mythology are connected. So basically, if, and I'm using largely Greco-Roman mythology as my background on this, I know a lot more about that. He gets into like Mesopotamian and like Semitic and all that.
Which is very interesting.
We'll kind of get into some of that.
But it's like, I mean...
But all that just influenced the Greco-Roman mythology.
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, who can interpret what? You know? Fucking like from that...
Yeah.
Like...
Sometimes people see the number 9 and they think blue.
You translate the fucking Bible, what are you gonna fucking do? You know, like, and we will get into that because there is that.
Yeah, there are Bible connections. This is the best way that I could sum it up. According to the Electric Universe theory / Saturn theory, Saturn was Earth's original North Polar sun after millennia of being in a purple haze. So you can think of purple haze as like the mythical equivalent, like. At first there was darkness, at first there was chaos.
And that was kind of like it was caused, in his theory, he posits that purple haze was caused by the
There's like a electromagnetic...
It's like Aurora Borealis.
Yeah, it's
basically.
like an electromagnetic plasma sheath around the Earth.
There was a electromagnetic plasma sheath around the Earth and Saturn. Saturn being the bigger one, Earth just literally rode in a perfect... I wrote it down somewhere.
Saturn was a wandering planet. I forget the name. There's an actual scientific name, but astrophysics has only just recently, as of like I think 2008, come to admit that like yes, there are wandering planets because a lot of it was relegated to the world of like Planet X and Nibiru and bullshit like that. But they were like, no, yeah, there are planets that sort of are free floating.
But the whole thing was that Saturn was we were locked into Saturn. We never saw the sun because the sun was fucking way the fuck somewhere.
Yeah, we didn't rotate around it.
We didn't rotate at all.
It's like
we literally just sat under Saturn, and it was a Pangea.
Yeah.
Back when Earth was a Pangea, and there were humans and dinosaurs at the same fucking time, and it was the only reason that dinosaurs could exist, according to this guy, because...
Megafauna what?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, there was less gravity.
He said there was less gravity, and that's only reason that dinosaurs could exist.
Yeah, and the increase in gravity was part of the...
But see, that's pseudo-scientific, though, because a lot of even paleontologists now will say that there may have been... It's hard to explain such massive dinosaurs without the idea of, like, a lesser gravity. Because the bones, the muscles couldn't support a fucking brontosaurus unless there was less gravity.
And
I mean...
that doesn't... But, I mean... Spencer, look at you. Compared to, like, I'm like a raptor and you're a brontosaurus.
And we both live under the same gravity.
We live under the same fucking gravity.
But our heliospheres might be a little cattywampus.
Catty corner from one another. Yeah. Okay, this is the best I could summarize it. According to the Electric Universe Saturn / Saturn theory, Saturn was Earth's original North Polar sun after millennia of being in a purple haze.
Yeah, it was fixed in the north,
Yeah, it soon brought Mars and Venus with it as they were locked into Saturn's gravity as moons of Saturn. So it looked, and the way that they were arranged from the vantage point down on Earth, it looked like a giant eye, like a pupil, an iris, an eyeball.
Yeah, it was
basically.
like they were all strung up, having the same like axis that they spun on.
So every time, and that's like explains all the the.
Mike, I gotta say you're skipping ahead a little too much.
Like I said, this is the most succinct cosmology thing I could put together. Let's see.
And it's because
the
electric universe theory, just a quick aside, is saying that electromagnetism is a more of a cosmological force than mass gravity based.
Yeah. There's no black holes.
Yeah, they say
there's basically it has less to do with mass and more to do with electrical charge, like positive and negative, like magnets.
His and their account is that there is no, like, science explains the things that we can't see in space as dark matter and black holes and stuff. They posit that it is electricity and plasma. And I don't know, I use plasma to cut metal every day.
There was some stuff in
Yeah,
there too
well, I
about...
mean, plasma is what happened when we separated from Jupiter.
Yeah.
There was these plasma balls.
Like
I'm getting ahead of myself here.
Yeah.
There was some stuff in there too about like vortex physics, and man, I've run across vortex physics looking into like orgone.
Oh, that
and
whole Axis
aether
Mundi
physics.
thing.
Yeah, that's the
sounds
center of Earth, basically.
It sounds like a president in Africa.
So basically, there was this giant planetary eye looking down on us, and hence all the eyeball symbolism.
Which was
the Chaos
Saturn
Monster.
and then Venus in front of it, in
Yeah.
between us.
It was
Or maybe
Saturn,
Mars.
and then Mars, and then Venus, I think.
Yeah,
Because Venus was like ejected.
he did not posit exactly which one was first.
Yeah, but like from the puny human vantage point down on Earth, it looked like a giant
Listeners,
eyeball.
us stumble fucking our way through this history is about how much you would get if you actually read the book yourself.
It's science.
It's not science at all. It is, but that's the thing.
It's a kind of science.
That's this book is very well presented. That it's any kind of a simpleton or somebody just looking to find the answers that they want would find the answers they want in this book.
Yeah. And hence, like, this, like
It's
I'm
like
saying,
feasible, but really not possible.
Yeah,
either.
and according to, I only did a little...
And keep in mind, like we said, this cosmology, this alternative cosmology, is the underlying foundation for his whole entire thesis.
Don't even think ancient aliens would fuck with this.
Let's see. Okay, so then due to some cosmic catastrophe...
Worlds are colliding!
Due to Saturn's wacky orbit, we ended up locked in its gravity / orbit, and ended up locked. And then once we joined into Saturn's orbit, or Saturn was still a free roaming planet to a degree, and then we moved close into all of us moved into the Sun's orbit, and this caused the polar shift, aka the flood. Because of this, food eventually became scarce, and Earth was no longer a veritable Garden of Eden, and work and toil became a thing. So after that, the Golden Age is over, and this is allegedly remembered subconsciously as, being kicked out of Eden, various forms of mythological stories about, a fall from grace.
The end of the Golden Age,
Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, the cosmology is,
It's questionable.
Yes,
at
very
best.
much.
At best.
He even mentions numerous times, he's like, most people would say this is ridiculous bullshit. I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah. Well, the guy that originally came up with the theory, the Talbot guy, it's a theory. You know?
He got a whole book out of it.
But from what I saw, that when I tried to research what any other people that are fucking smart in that realm think, they're like, no, it's not even a full theory. He doesn't even have enough information to have a cogent theory.
Yeah, I did find this woman who's an astrophysicist who does explain that the Earth being where it is and the conditions on Earth do owe a large part to Saturn, but that's about it. It's just how Saturn and Jupiter and the planets locked into their gravitational orbits around the sun, and how Earth found that, the Goldilocks spot, I believe they call it. So, yeah, that's basically what brings us up to mostly the interesting shit, because I'm telling you right now, this whole cosmology stuff, it's so boring.
Honestly, the guide that we're using is the chapter listing for the book.
Yeah.
Because we're just going off of that, because it'd just be too fucking boring.
Yeah.
It'd be too way fucking boring.
Like, the whole reason I read this book was for the salacious, dirty, fucking, lewd details of,
See, my favorite part was the cosmology.
It was the part
it.
that sucked me in. Honestly, like, that's why I didn't even finish the book, because I'm sitting there breaking down every bit that I'm reading, and I'm like, okay, but then, and then I want to get into the Silver Age after the Golden. That's when
people start having to think in seasons, because Saturn was in this theory, Saturn,
the blue blood priests.
Yeah. The blue blood
Wait,
priests.
I wrote it down.
Yeah, so, like, he takes this whole cosmology and equates a lot of it with well-known mythology, and there are some problems in his mythology as well. Like, we'll break that down when we get there.
But there's some stuff.
And see, this
Proves
is
it
where
right,
you're
proves it
playing.
wrong.
This is where you're playing with like archetypes and stuff like that, and mythological domains that are sort of the same across different cultures. There was a god known as Saturnus that was older than Saturn, the Roman god. That like his area, his land on Earth or whatever. Rome was built on top of it. So there is this older god. Plus, there's all this like Gnostic Christianity shit that Saturnus and Saturn are equated to the demiurge, aka the evil creator in Gnostic Christianity, the god who's like God who fooled everyone into thinking that it's the real God or whatever. That was where my whole argument came in, because like he didn't even need this whole cosmology if he just like went with Gnostic Christianity shit, because he already would have had a whole foundation in myth or whatever. But there's all kinds of other stuff about Venus being like ejected from Saturn as the chaos monster.
And, well, that's the thing. All of these events were what traumatized humanity.
Yeah.
And
it's imprinted on our subconscious.
And that's what he says is imprinted on our subconscious as humanity. And those were the major events that like structured where we basically end up today, kind of, in the ancient world.
Their influence through the ages and how that influence structured things.
And it's been proven that there is such a thing as inherited genetic trauma.
Oh, yeah.
That's down to the DNA level. That's only been proven in the last 10 years or so.
That, or if you're talking about like Jungian psychology and archetypes, things like that, or like what do you call it, collective unconscious, things like that, race memory. So yeah, I mean, there is some basis in, you know, like there's a foundation in like legitimate shit.
Yeah, save the trauma for your mama, all right?
Some of it's a little questionable. There's one part where he mentions that Venus and Kronos, aka Saturn, were lovers, which I've looked at several, you know, forms of mythology.
Wait, so was that not actually in, like, that thing? I didn't get to delve in. I just read what he wrote. I didn't get to cross-reference the Greek or Roman.
Yeah, it is in the Roman mythology.
Well, they were never lovers. I've never heard any story about them being lovers. There is a story about when Kronos' balls were cut off by his son Zeus.
I was going to say, so we couldn't squirt in there.
Well, yeah, sort of like the balls fell into the ocean and it caused some sort of like big foam, and Venus was born out of the clamshell. That's why there's that famous picture of her being born out of the clamshell.
Yeah.
And then Mars, the god of war, he says that Mars, the god of war, is also a son of Kronos, but that's not true either. He's one of Zeus's sons.
During this shift where we went from being in Saturn's polar orbit to the sun's orbit, that Mars and Venus were spinning out of control and being pulled in by the sun, and they were having battles with each other, the two planets, which was sending electromagnetic and debris into Earth because they would collide near Earth. So these ancient people were seeing these giant stars, you know, lit by the sun.
And the planets, the classic planets, are like equated to the gods. Like, that's pretty well proven in most mythologies. Yeah, Mars and Venus are having all these battles, and then Jupiter, aka Zeus, shows up, and that's why, like, as soon as Jupiter got pulled into the orbit, there was a lot of electromagnetic activity, like crazy lightning storms, and that's why Zeus is associated with lightning bolts and shit.
Which was like arcing plasma.
Yeah. And I will say, if you check out plasma glyphs, they're kind of like hieroglyphs, but plasma. They've done all these
I looked at a paper on that.
There's all these like lab captures of plasma, like captured in these, basically, I guess they're like experimental light bulbs, basically. But they capture these plasma charges, and all these shapes of the plasma charges have been represented in all these ancient hieroglyphs and all kinds of other shit. So
like
that
they can
itself
do the toroidal shapes and
there's like a famous lightning bolt symbol that's like a dorje. I've seen it in Tibetan stuff too. The Vajra, that's what it's called. Vajra, you naughty dogs. And yeah, it's the shape of a plasma discharge. So there is something weird and crazy to that. That's a whole other rabbit hole, though. This is basically the nutshell cosmology upon which we get into the really interesting shit. From there, like we said, scarcity is introduced. And once scarcity is introduced, people are like, oh shit, we don't have enough this or that to continue living. So we've got to get people, basically there's a contingent of people who are the blue bloods, as we mentioned earlier, who basically got the bright idea. It was like, hey, let's just get other people to work for us so we don't have to do shit and we can live off of it.
They developed a money system based on debt.
It's the priesthood.
Yeah. And the priesthood and these
kings, people that somehow had the knowledge of Saturn. And that's the thing, like, all of this, it's just so, it's like, okay, so they had this knowledge, but they knew about it, but it's like they came up with these rituals to appease, but he never, like, really clarifies in the book, do they actually believe it, or are they just doing it? Does he actually believe it, or are they just doing it? Like,
it's like his chili recipe's missing the masa to thicken it all.
Yeah, he doesn't know what to fucking do.
Congeal it all together.
Yeah, he's not coming in first place in the chili contest.
Well, as far as the true belief aspect of it, we will get in that towards the end because there is some interesting theories of my own. And
there's some true believers out there no matter what.
Yeah, oh yeah, like the conspiracy culture fucking totally thinks that this is a thing. So, or at least they think that the elites think that this is a thing.
Yeah.
They know that we know that they know that we know.
Yep.
Yeah. There's a H.P. Lovecraft quote, I think. It's sort of attributed to him, but it's basically, you don't need to believe in Santa Claus to know there'll be presents under the tree on Christmas morning. So it's not really whether you believe it or not, but that there's people out there. It's like how we were talking earlier about evangelical Christians trying to kickstart the apocalypse. Like, we don't believe in that shit, but there's people out there who can do things that very much affect our lives.
Okay, see, that has been my biggest struggle with the conspiracy world, is that for the longest I was like, no, of course the elites don't believe, like, smart people that are in charge of things don't believe in your Christian God or Satan or any of this dumb shit. They believe in money and power. Yeah. Like, because that's what
God
it is.
made money in his image.
But, but now that I'm really thinking about it, fucking, there have been so many goddamn elites that believe in all. Aleister Crowley didn't fucking scoot his fucking fat ass along so long because he wasn't getting money. People were paying him.
Yeah.
All these, and then
all those people in the Golden Dawn were rich, upper class.
Exactly, the Golden Dawn.
All that occult shit around the turn of the century was mostly rich, money people.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's what has gotten me, because I have always liked to think that no, the smart people in charge fucking don't believe this dumb shit. You believe the dumb shit, and you're putting it on them. But you know what? I'm at a baffled point in my life where
the baffler.
I realize that people do believe this shit because people believe in fucking goddamn church. People believe in fucking all their stupid fucking religions.
It's like I was saying about,
it baffles my mind. But you know what? People believe it, so I can't say that they don't believe it, and
to the point
it
that
hurts me.
Yeah. I mean, a blind pig finds an acorn every once in a while. You know what I mean? It's like these certain people who believe in this thing, and then their prophecy comes true just by happenstance. And there's eventually
it doesn't matter if it's real or not, but people are fucking doing it no matter what.
Yeah, that's why I equate it to, like I was saying about evangelical Christianity. It's like, oh, if we kickstart the apocalypse, Jesus will have to come back. Or even from outside of that, if you look at it from like a weird sort of chicken and egg chaos magic sort of angle.
Even any of that dumb stuff. These people, look on my wall. There's a poster
of a woman who's not real.
Well, there's the
Maria Orsic.
Yeah, Maria Orsic. Look her up. But there is a group of people doing a seance. And, that was all the rage back in the day.
Yeah.
People did this shit, and those were people that had money. Because you think the goddamn dude that was toiling all day in the fucking wheat field was doing a seance when he got home? No, plus, he was trying to fucking get drunk and get to sleep.
Yeah, also it's like most people who are really...
Get up at 6 in the morning.
Who really, really invest themselves in religions. I mean, most people don't pray when your life is going well. You know what I'm saying? These are people who fucking are trying to get through and get by. But there's also the idea of the chaos magic side of it, whereas maybe you have these rich elites who at some point just started out basically cosplaying and LARPing as the Illuminati,
exactly. Yeah,
and then it becomes real. Next thing you know,
absolutely. That is the turn that I have made in my observation of all this. And because I the whole time with all the Q, I'm like, no, these elite people don't fucking do. But then I look back at history and, man, these elite people have been doing this shit.
Yeah.
And it's kind of, it's disturbing to me.
It's food for thought, that's for fucking certain.
Because I'm just a man. You know?
I'm just a caveman. I fell in some ice and later got thawed out by some of your scientists. Your world frightens and confuses me.
Let's see, we did the cosmology, we were talking about whether these people believe it or not. I guess basically, once the blue bloods come into power and scarcity becomes a concept, not necessarily a thing.
When it wasn't before.
Yeah, because during the time before this planetary catastrophe...
The Golden Age.
The Golden Age, yes. Food, specifically plants, were plentiful. They were just everywhere. It was in the Pangea time.
There was no growing season, so food just always
there was
grew
no
all
seasons.
the time.
There was no night and day.
Yeah.
So
No
time becomes a concept as well, and that's also important.
Chronos.
Another system of oppression.
Yeah.
So
So
enough hours in the day.
time
by
is
design.
money. So
The cool, that is part of one of the things that makes me think this guy, he just sounds like a fucking commie. Yeah, he's like so much against his bank, but it's also, he has a shitload of debt.
Yeah.
He's obviously owes somebody.
I'm also
somebody.
pretty sure he was living with his mother when he wrote this.
Yeah.
Not that there's anything wrong with living with your mother.
You live with your mother.
And my father. But they're old. They need help around the house,
Yeah.
There's multiple things. So yeah, the priesthood basically takes over. They introduce time, and not long after that, they also introduce the idea of money. And this is where we get into the Jew stuff. This is what really disappointed me about this too, because I thought it was going to be different. I thought there wasn't going to be.
No, it's never
I
different.
thought it was going to
It's
be,
never
like
same
oh. I mean, okay. I will say that he at least points out, or people who've jumped on the Saturn Death Cult bandwagon of the idea have at least said that all three of the Abrahamic religions are offshoots of this.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You can tell by Judaism has the six-pointed star, which has a cube in
Yes.
the middle or whatever. The cross in Christianity
Folds
if you
up
fold
into the cube.
folds into
Which,
a black cube.
Or is that just all coinky
we
dink?
didn't
I mean-
clarify.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
so
Saturn-
the storm on the tip of Saturn, which looks really fucking cool,
Yeah, it does.
is a hexagram.
bizarre, yeah.
A hexagram.
Hexagon.
Whatever. It's a hexagram.
Hexagon.
Hexagon?
Yeah.
Hexagon.
Okay.
Six-sided hexagon.
Whatever.
Hexagonal.
Six-sided hexagon is a 2D
Hexagroid.
version of a cube, and it's black. Can I go through the things real
Yeah.
quick? Can I go through the things?
Yeah, stir that chili.
All right, let me stir the chili.
Oh, and the Muslims and
I'm getting there. I'm getting there. Okay. All right. So we're starting with the hexagram, the storm on Saturn, six-sided. What else is six? Humanity, carbon,
six.
carbon. We are carbon life forms. Carbon, 6 neutrons, 6 protons, and 6 electrons.
Six sides to a cube.
Humans are 666. There are 6 sides to a hexagram, which is a 2D cube.
2D cube, yep.
And what do they have in Islam? What do they have in Judaism? They have black cubes.
Yeah.
There's the Kaaba and what's the other one? The Jewish one. What's the Jewish one?
Star David.
No.
The black cube.
No, they
thing.
actually have a monument. Like it's a monument. Like all the Muslims go to the
Kaaba.
The Kaaba.
Yeah.
That is where they all bow to.
The only other Judaism thing I remember was the hats.
No.
No, they have a giant
They have a
black
giant black cube too.
Really?
Oh yeah.
It's in Jerusalem.
And it's in
know that.
Jerusalem, and it's. I saw a thing that said they were both 666 miles apart, but I Google mapped it myself, and it was not. Or no, kilometers. It was 660 kilometers, but when I Google mapped it,
The Tefillin.
The Tefillin, yes,
that's
thank you.
the thing that you
I got
have.
something else later that takes the most
Anyway,
easy cursory research, but it pisses me off so
and
bad. Anyway.
then you got the black cube that they wear on their hats. That's the Kefala?
That's the Tefillin.
Teflon. The Teflon. The Jews wear the black cube on their hat.
Tefillin?
It's a black cube on their head. Then
So wait, what's their black cube that they go to?
Saturn is the 6th planet from the sun. 6.
No.
It's the sixth planet from the sun.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I had to go through my mnemonics.
I'm trying
My
to...
very
Goddamn-
energetic mother just
I
served
broke
us 9
this
peaches.
down for the youngster at work. Shout out, Ethan. What's up?
Thanks for the Russian ear cutting video, by the way.
Yeah. No, that was another youngster at work. I got a lot of youngsters
Well,
at
thanks
work.
to that guy.
Yeah, but they both give me all the info. They keep me up to date with the Gen Z stuff.
They keep me young.
But anyway, there was the six, and a lot of sixes. I'm sure.
So wait, I'm confused. What was the Islam has the Kaaba, and then
the Jews have
Judaism has what? What do they go to?
Okay, but also, well,
Is that the Wailing Wall? Or?
No, he just said it.
Well, I thought that was the hat.
But
the
also,
Teflon?
when you look at the Star of David, what's in the middle?
Hexagon.
Hexagon.
Yeah.
Can I call it a hexagram? I like a hexagram better. I'm going to call it a hexagram.
Why not?
They have that, and it's also 6-pointed star, 666.
Yeah. I think that's also a Masonic connection.
Which this guy doesn't get. All right, let's fucking beep beep beep. Back it up.
Beep, beep, beep. What are you doing?
When we back it up,
I might be wrong on that.
Troy McLaughlin, not Sarah McLaughlin.
On them having a cube that the Judaism.
No,
goes
they got one. They got something.
I think it's also called a Teflon.
Okay.
Like the things that they wear is
so
like
they
a
modeled the hat
representation
after the fucking
after
thing.
the place they go to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's
I've
a lot
never
of
heard of
cubes.
the place they go to.
And that's the funny thing. See, it's draped in a black cloth.
Okay.
So it's like a rock, but it's draped in a black cloth.
One of the podcasts I was listening to about this stuff, they said, okay, so you have the Kaaba, the people who go to the Kaaba worship Allah. That's where you get Kaab Allah, and it's like, no, it's not, you fucking idiot.
See?
There's so much wrong shit in this. The Kabbalah is
It's like when
Jewish
I listen to
and it's been
Hebrew
around a
Israel.
long
Like,
2
time.
+ 4 = 6.
Yeah.
Thanks, big brother.
So there is a lot of convoluted stuff in this, but at the same time, still very interesting.
Yeah.
There are some ties that it's like, huh, how about that? Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Things that make you go,
What do you know about that?
This is Folgers Instant Crystals.
You bastard!
no, yeah, I heard someone
New
try
York
to
City.
I heard someone try to say that the Nike swoosh was Saturn's rings. I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
wrong. That's wrong.
Oh no. I could, and I probably will at the end bring up all the
The corporate logos and whatnot.
once we go into the further when people start. It's
garnishing the chili.
Yeah, exactly. Garnishing when the chili's already in
Sour
somebody's.
cream, little green onion.
Yeah, it's in somebody's bowl. It's not even being made anymore. It's just in people's bowls, and they're adding. They're putting like I haven't even tasted this chili yet. I'm gonna put some of this ass burning hot sauce on there,
But
and then
sprinkle some Reddit on it.
some sour cream, and put some fucking Reddit on it. That was my introduction, like I said, to the Saturn thing, and it was so convoluted. I did not understand anything, and you know what?
That was kind of mine too, and we've had to basically reverse engineer
We have
from that point.
we have
It's like, how the
reverse
fuck
engineered this shit.
does that go there? So yeah, basically you get the kings and the priesthood who are essentially one, and scarcity's been introduced, and they are of the mindset that, hey, a lot of work's got to be done to supply food, and we don't want to fucking do it. So let's get these slaves to do it, and that's where things take a turn into slavery, especially debt-based slavery and financial systems.
When he just goes after financial systems and bankers, and that's the thing. He says bankers, which is in this instance code for Jews.
And this is where this bit certainly kind of pissed me off, because he talks about the Rothschilds specifically, and they've been conspiracy boogeymen forever. They're one Jewish family, but he does not refer to them. So, I mean, he could have kind of got
I would have
away-
had way more respect if he'd have just said those fucking Rothschild Jew bastards.
He could have got away with, they're just one Jewish family.
But
not all Jews are part of the Rothschild family. So he calls them the Red Shield, which technically is
the translation
of their name, but he went that route, which kind of is, I don't know.
He's a little bit of a pussy about it.
Yeah, it's a bit of a fucking bitch move in my book. He should have just said it
But
flat out.
on the cool, in the world of conspiracy, leaving room for interpretation actually seems to have benefited him quite greatly.
Oh, yeah? How so?
I mean, look at all the fucking spin-offs. This motherfucker's
That's
got
true,
more
yeah.
spin-offs than goddamn Happy Days. Like, it's...
Saturn loved Chachi.
Yeah, Saturn loves
Chachi.
fucking Chachi. Fucking, and then, you know what? What was the other? Mork and Mindy? You know, I bet you if this motherfucker watched some Mork and Mindy, he would see some Saturn images.
He wrote another book called Donald Trump, An American Jehu. And...
Jehu?
Jehu? I think that's how you say it. Jehu.
Yeah, Jehu.
It's all about how Donald Trump is essentially a reincarnation or a re-happenstance of an ancient Israeli king named Jehu.
Shit.
And Jehu was very, like, into money. And he said he's had to explain, and he explained it on the podcast I listened to, that it's like, I'm not, like, into him or anything. Like, I'm not a Trump supporter, but I'm just trying to show in this book that it's very much, there are very much similarities between them, and that this king, this Israeli king, Jehu, was in power before all this fucked up shit happened.
That's real interesting. You know, a fun fact I actually learned last night that I just happened to randomly search something. You know what Donald Trump's dad's middle name is?
I do. I can't remember it, though.
It's my alternative name that I use on my social medias.
Damien?
Christ.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Fred Christ
Trump. Trump.
Yeah.
And you know why it's Christ? It's because his mother's last name was Christ.
They were a loving family.
Wow.
Yeah.
And their name's not even Trump. They changed it when they got over here. It's Trump.
Well, that was because of fucking World War I and the
Yeah.
Germans and
Yeah.
whatnot. A lot of Germans did that. You can't fucking, like, that. Of course it's Trump and fuck them and whatnot, but, like, that is a lot of German families lost their Germanness because of fucking World War I and World War II.
Well,
They
They
went
could've
from
gone
Goebbels to Baker, you know.
Mengele to Johnson. These things happen. No, like, they could have gone with dump. I don't know. Like, it's the fact that they use the word Trump because of the inherent meaning in it. And
They became Americans.
Yeah. I mean...
That's an American name.
It's a very marketing scheme kind of thing, I think. But,
Oh yeah, they were all rich,
that's
actually.
it.
Like even from like the grandfather and the Christ family, there was money involved. So
Christ. We ain't talking about
Yeah,
Chateau.
Oh, you mean the Newport Trump? The
I am
Newport
so,
Christ?
on the cool. I am so surprised that in my conspiracy bullshit, I had never ran across the fact that his fucking father's middle name was fucking Christ and his grandmother's middle name or last name was Christ. Like, how is that not popped up to me before?
How is that not all over Reddit?
Yeah.
I had to go to fucking Wiki for that
Oh,
bullshit.
it will be now. And then also, his uncle ended up with a bunch of the patents of Tesla's shit after Tesla died.
Don't.
Yeah, that's
no.
a whole nother...
The fucking Baron von Trump story fucking thing, which is fucking weird. Yeah, like,
You know how he came up with that name for his son, Baron? He used to call people, Donald the Donnie, he would call people and be like, yeah, my name's Baron, Mr. Baron. I'm looking into making a real estate deal, and I'm thinking about paying this much money for it. And he would basically, like, send out fucking fanning the flames of speculation on real estate costs and things like that, using the name Mr. Baron. So it's something that he's had with him for a while. Anyways, enough of the American Jehu. If you're interested, look up Troy D. McClaughlin's book.
American Jew.
Yeah, say
That's, like, they wrote it. He wrote it. So wait, you're telling
The
me
king's name was
I didn't
Jehu.
even look into
The other
anything
books he
else
wrote?
that he wrote. But he wrote a book called The American Jehu.
Donald Trump, the American Jehu.
Jew.
J-E-H-U.
Jew.
What?
Jew.
It was the guy's name. Yes, he was Jewish.
This is fucking hilarious because this guy refused to say that it's the Jews,
Yeah.
even though he's implying that it's the Jews
Yes.
constantly in this book.
That's what I'm saying too, because like as soon as I finished the book, I was like, "Motherfucker, this is another the Jews did it conspiracy." God damn it! I thought
All
it was
of them
gonna be-
are. Like,
not all of them,
most of them.
not all of them, but a good portion.
But
yes.
they are.
Any ones that gain any kind of traction. seem
Look,
to
I
be-
can't.
Well, lately, yeah.
I'm just gonna say I'm not justifying, but I am I guess I am rationalizing a little bit. They're the perfect boogeymen. They're less than 2% of the population, but have over like 90% of the wealth.
Well, it's all because
it's a thing.
We've talked
about it because they were forced into banking because of Christians.
They weren't even forced. The Christians legislated themselves out of it with their bullshit beliefs about
it's an open market.
Yeah. So I mean, shit, dude. If I was in that, that's what I kept thinking. They didn't
let Christians finance other Christians, so
you couldn't charge interest and shit like that. So I was like, well, fuck, man. If I was a Jewish dude in that time,
it's called capitalism.
Yeah, he ends up mentioning the Red Shield, which is a big part of the book. Like, we're cutting through a lot of history here, but it's basically all the priesthoods and the royal families and the warrior kings, etc., are the perpetrators, the continuance of, or the origins of,
that was the
modern Saturn Death Cult.
Was it Jesus that he called the warrior king of the...
No, he's talking about King David, I think.
Oh, it was King David, okay.
Jesus was one of the few good guys in his story,
they were most likely utilizing the mythology that was getting kicked around at the time.
Yeah, because...
You know, and folding it into their shit.
Yeah, there was lots of other mythology / religious history, or quote-unquote history, that sort of adhered to this overall archetypal Saturn story from mythology.
Yeah, he put so much stuff that, like, all these things, he would look at one thing, and it's not just him, it's the Talbot guy, probably a couple of them. We'll have to put all the reference, because there's a lot of references we use, but they all look at ancient stuff and ancient drawings, ancient statues, and they're all like, oh, look, see? Yeah. Like, there was a picture, it was a statue or a picture, I can't remember, of Kronos or Saturn. I don't remember which one it was, but they're like, see, the ancients knew that there were rings around Saturn because he had a belt on. Yeah, it wasn't even a belt. It was like he had the fucking the leaf belt. It's like come on, man.
Bit of a stretch.
It's a bit of a fucking stretch.
I hope they got comfy shoes. This is a long walk to that conclusion.
Yeah, exactly. That was a good one. That was a good one. I like that.
A lot of the mythology he uses to back this shit up is very suspect. He points out Mesoamerican mythology, like the Aztecs and the Mayans, etc., as totally, as someone who was totally isolated from pan-European mythology, and how they practice human sacrifice. And he says that Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent, is another interpretation of Saturn. But
and also an Asian.
He was saying that all of these motherfuckers were saying that everybody was Saturn.
Yeah,
like there are some of their little conclusions and jumps are like, okay, I could kind of see that. There's a little bit of validation, and you know what? I mean, Saturn was a visible planet, and you can still go out and see Saturn with the naked eye, and you can see that it's a little bit different than the rest of the stars.
The classic 7 planets being interpreted as gods from various cultures, like that's standard, I think, through most mythologies. If you're looking at like comparative mythology, though, I would not equate Quetzalcoatl with Saturn or even Titans and shit. There's a lot of like, I guess the best way you could put it is like idea complexes, all these ideas that go together, and you see these same kind of gods represented throughout different cultures. I've heard, I can't remember his him, but I've heard other people equate Odin with Saturn, which only on the smallest degree, but most people equate Odin with like Mercury and Thoth and like gods of language and writing, or magic or whatever. You have if you just look at like the basic 12 Greco-Roman gods, like, you've got Zeus as the king, Cronus is a titan from a time before, who was disposed, and then you've got like the queen goddess, and then you've got like a god or goddess of love, like Venus or Aphrodite.
Yeah, in his whole
war, things like that.
Cosmology, Mars, Saturn, and Venus are the ones that were like all formed around this whole cataclysm thing that he claimed. And Mars is the god of war. Venus, it's what I have that's what I have tattooed on my face. Is Tyr, which is the Norse god of war, which is equated with Mars, the Greek and Roman god of war.
And he equates Venus with the chaos monster.
Ride the snake.
Because when Venus was ejected
supposedly.
Yeah, no, that's a false connection, I would say.
Yeah.
Most chaos monsters throughout... I think I've talked about Chaos Kampf before. It's a comparative mythology thing. But in all these different cultures, you have, like, what's usually a god king or a storm guy who's usually associated with thunder and lightning, fighting some kind of giant dragon or reptile or worm or leviathan or whatever. It's a reoccurring myth in various cultures, and I've never ever seen anything equating a goddess of love with a chaos monster. Totally separate shit. So, once again, a lot of his mythological conclusions are suspect at best.
I am reading right now in just the introduction to the book, in which this work is presented as an alternative view that looks at mythology as natural history and human history as a cult ritual. The dude,
He's
that
going
is
the Graham Hancock route a little bit.
That is their whole thing. Him and the other guy, Talbot, is that the ancients, and from their interpretation, were actually speaking the truth, not mythology. Yeah. It's real shit. Yeah. That's the whole thing, is that their interpretation is that everything all the ancient cultures said was actually real. Like it wasn't their interpretation of a simple-minded folk who are just trying to make the best out of what they see in life.
Yeah, explaining different aspects of nature.
All that.
It's all the planets, and the planets are the gods.
It was real.
Yeah, and that totally doesn't jive either with more modern explanations of how, say, the Greco-Roman pantheon is really a psychological model of different aspects of the mind. This is stuff that they're coming to the fore more lately with, like, finding out that a lot of these people were doing ritual drug use and things like that. So, yeah, it's, I'd say his connections are spotty at best.
Records from that era are spotty at best!
So,
this book really amounts to the discussion of disturbing occult connections relating the planet Saturn and its influence on our collective march towards a terrifying elitist agenda of justifiable man-made global cleansing.
Yeah, but that wouldn't bring about a new golden age.
Yeah,
this
plays into other conspiracy theories too about transhumanism. But yeah, all this stuff with our Hebraic brothers and sisters out there. What do you call it? The Tower of Babel was actually a bank, or Babylon was actually a bank, and things like that. And then Mystery Babylon, as it became known after it fell, insinuated itself into the foundations of Rome, and Rome became, a monarchy as opposed to a republic, like we kind of talked about on Caligula. So, yeah, there's a lot of... the Jews did it. It's another one of those.
Okay, we're a little mixed up and convoluted in our storyline because that is what we're working with.
Yeah, we're kind of...
It's so... I mean, yeah, this dude laid it out in a semi-cohesive way.
There's the whole opium trade.
So, Sodom and Gomorrah was actually...
It ain't just fucking.
Yeah, just for a little quick cap on that.
Yeah. Sodom is where we get the term sodomy, and Gomorrah, that's a whole other thing. It's a whole other move that we can't mention on Spotify.
But in reality, according to Sarah McLachlan, it was actually run by an opium cartel, because apparently that's when the elites figured out that dealing dope, that you can control the masses, have these people, and you profit off the misery of others, is what he is speaking of. Yeah. And that the actual striking down that supposedly in the Bible that God did was actually just part of the electric universe, because Venus or Mars, he says he's not sure which one, made too close of a flyby, while this is in the period where the planets were still figuring out their thing, and it's electric universe, so everything's got plasma and electricity, and supposedly that the whole striking down of Sodom and Gomorrah was actually part of the electric universe theory, and it just so happened that it was also the hub of the opium trade in ancient times.
And the striking down was like an arc of plasma coming from either Mars or Jupiter.
Yes, which
just happened to land on
that particular city.
Mars
or
Venus.
Cities.
It was Mars,
Mars
or
or Venus, excuse me.
And also, just to clarify, all the meteor strikes on Mars, the little dimples, were also from electricity and not from meteors.
Well, if you're making chili,
And
you
not
want it
from
to be
a natural
meteor.
erosion.
Ah.
No, yeah, he breaks it down like basically the whole introducing time and money. All these warrior kings after a while were going rogue, and they were like, shit, like we're the Saturn Brotherhood or whatever, we gotta lock our shit down again. So fast forward several centuries, and it basically breaks down to what he calls the gods industry, and that stands for guns, oil, drugs, sex.
Sounds like a fucking sick ass time. Sounds like
Vice City, GTA.
or fucking me and my goddamn well, I don't
Your 20s?
I don't yeah, pretty much. Back when I had a sweet V8 fucking truck and a fucking
Armax?
Midgie Armax, exactly. That was a V8 truck, and there was a lot of oil being burnt in that motherfucker. There was no gods involved at all.
Lots of antifreeze dumping out of the radiator at all times.
And then fucking
you gotta up the antifreeze to see the
and
gods.
drugs and sex were definitely involved.
Gods is the acronym that he uses, and that's basically what controlled all of history. And then we reach what is referred to as the Nazi conundrum. What are we going to do about these Nazis?
That is a title of a chapter in this book.
Yeah.
And you skipped quite ahead. We got a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
we would be here all goddamn
yeah,
day. We
like
would be here all
we can't
day.
really go cover all the specifics, but it's basically the same people throughout history.
But also, I am actually looking at the gods thing chapter right now, and it's the monopoly on energy resources, the corporate and illicit drug trafficking, drugs, and the sexual exploitation of women and children, sexual slavery, the infamous gods industry.
Yeah, and he mentions all throughout various periods of history leading up to this point about he's like, and children kept disappearing.
Yes,
and
that
later,
that was a.
After he mentions it 5 times, he's like, you might have noticed that I said children keep disappearing. So this is obviously, one of the big things about conspiracy culture today. And actually,
somebody please think of the children.
Grab the children! Save the children!
So yeah, I had to look up exactly how many children go missing in a year.
Yes, because it is
an alarming amount. It's like 800,000 in America.
But it's a fact that is thrown out by all of the conspiracy people because that is the main fucking thing right now.
Bolsters their argument.
Yeah.
However,
because who wants to argue with children?
Yeah,
and it gets people emotionally invested.
It does.
Yeah.
And you know what? I argue with a child fucking every goddamn week. It's a pain in the ass. Children do argue.
They're unnecessary.
Why?
They argue. They argue.
We should make them a renewable fuel source. No, yeah. He
Stack
mentions
them up like cordwood.
Stack 'em 10 high!
Yeah, I looked into how many children go missing in America a year, and it's 800,000. And yes, that is an alarming number, but nobody does the follow-through, because you know how many of those children are found? 98.7%.
Yep.
It's always like a family member who took them.
Almost always.
It's divorced families who are feuding with each other, or children who are in some sort of care system who
or
run away.
Teenagers who leave the fucking house for a day, get reported, and they're back the next fucking day. But the conspiracy people only get the first part.
Yeah,
they're like, yes, this many children were reported missing,
and these
every year.
These figures I'm taking from the National Institute for Missing and Exploited Children. I may have the acronym or the name wrong there.
I think you got it right.
But I will include the links to this so you can see for yourself that it's 98.2 or 98.7 of these children are found, and no one ever mentions that part. So, once again, that argument falls flat on its face. So yeah, the Nazis. What are we going to do about them? Apparently, and this is another big part that comes through his book, and he's not the first to mention this. There was a philosopher named Hegel who came up with what he calls the Hegelian dialectic, or dialectic. He put his own name on it. But you know what? Actually, if you look way into fucking like Plato and Aristotle and all these older philosophers, this idea has been around forever. It's thesis versus antithesis equals synthesis. Problem versus reaction equals solution. So the best way I can equate it is if you've ever seen the old James Bond movies where Spectre, the evil organization, they put two fighting fish in a tank and it's like, here's, the Cold War. It's the West and the East, the Russians and the Americans. They fight each other, tire each other out, and then here comes the third goldfish to take over, or the fighting fish to take over. You've seen it a million times. That's the main argument that, or the process that these people secretly in charge use. But even then, it's a bit of a stretch. I don't know. Sarah McLachlan says that communism was an experiment they were trying out as opposed to capitalism, and that some break-off contingent of one of these groups stepped outside a line and formed the Socialist Nazi Party, the Democratic Socialist Nazi Party, Workers' Party, or whatever. I forget what the original thing is on that, too. But also, the weird thing is that communism is commonly conflated with socialism.
Well, I mean, to me, as a goddamn red-blooded American, reading this guy bitching about financial systems and all that, I'm like, he sounds like a goddamn commie to me.
Yeah.
Like this dude.
If he were in a position to charge interest for money he'd loaned, he'd fucking do it.
Yeah. Both Mike and I have discussed, we're pretty sure this guy is severely financially in debt, and he probably wrote this book because he had a bad divorce, lost all his money, and then he found somebody else to blame, the bankers.
Yeah. The globalists. Whatever.
He never says globalist. That's a.
He was real big in the Columbia.
That's a AJ. That's a AJ word.
Okay. Yeah. We actually tried to find more biographical information on Mr. Sarah McLachlan.
Nothing.
Yeah, it's just a list of jobs he's worked at, which is another kind of indicator.
And to let y'all know, also, he is from New Zealand. Actually, he was born in
Scotland.
He was born in South Africa. Lived in New Zealand, and then schooled in was he schooled in America?
The UK, I think.
UK. So he was all over.
He considers himself Scottish, and he has a Scottish accent.
It's a little Kiwi. A little bit Kiwi.
You're a good kid.
Yeah, it's a little Kiwi.
Yeah. He mentions that he's worked in the entertainment industry, and that's another indicator, probably.
Jingles. He wrote jingles. Yeah. That was one of the things that was included. He wrote jingles.
Don't want the monsters.
But it sounds like he was basically a teamster in...
Jack of all trades, master of none.
Yeah. He worked in the entertainment industry a little bit, and now he's the godfather of or the stepdaddy of the fucking Saturn conspiracy. Actually, because the what's his name? Spencer, help me out. Talbot. Talbot was the guy on the original. Talbot.
Would you like a towel? Yeah, he does go. He jumps from the Nazi conundrum, quote unquote. We're quoting there.
Wait, what was the conundrum? I didn't even make it to that part of the book.
That basically because the Rothschilds were the ones who created central banking. Yeah, the Red Shields. And because they're a Jewish family, and then here come the Nazis, and the Nazis were issuing their own debt-free currency once they took over, and that was the reason that they had to be stopped.
That's racist!
And that's why every presidential assassination in the United States, it's all been an economic thing. Well, according to his
some of these things
they all want to get away from the debt-based monies.
And, well, there's always been problems for anybody that tries to get away. What were the last two non-central banked countries? They were the desert countries that we were recently invading.
Yeah.
The last places that didn't have central banks were the places, which I'm not saying I believe this conspiracy, I'm saying it does give it a little credence. The last places that didn't have the central bank were the last places that were invaded by the United States.
So probably places that were issuing money based on petroleum product, exports, something like that to that effect. Because oil does play a big part in this too. Guns, oil, drugs, sex. So the Nazis tried to back their own non-debt-based currency. They were basically financially trying to start from 0 year, and that was the problem. It wasn't the fact that they were exterminating all these Jewish folks, and that's why they had to be stopped. Although he also does get a little bit sidelined into one of my favorite conspiracy theories, which is breakaway civilization and secret space program. And he kind of says that this is a distinct possibility as well. The Allied forces scooped up all these Nazi scientists, which we know to be true, and NASA was started by Nazis, basically. So there's a secret space program.
It was America with aid of Nazis.
There's a whole secret space program tangent to this as well. And once again, he mentions throughout the book, like I was saying, several times.
Here we go. Abkhazia, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, Bolivia, and Syria.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can see why some of those aren't around anymore. And
no, they're there as of 2018.
Oh, okay.
I mean, North Korea's still there kicking. Iran, Syria, ISIS.
Axis of evil.
Yeah. The axis of evil. And, of course, our perennial fucking enemy, the goddamn Ruskies.
Rasputin.
Yeah, fucking... I mean, we all grew up in the 80s
watching Red Dawn.
Red Dawn, Rambo. Was it first? I think it was first. Again, I will bring up a Rambo reference.
And the other Arnold Stallone movie, Rocky
V? 5.
Yeah,
Rocky 5. And I believe it was Rambo 3, which was actually First Blood Part 2.
That's confusing as shit.
Yeah, I think I'm right on that. But anyway, he helped the which. Honestly, never mind. I was about to go into the current thing that just happened in Russia that's going to lead to the sequel of the
Cold
original...
War II Electric Boogaloo?
Yeah, Cold War II Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah, for those who don't know, there's a video out there making the rounds of the FSB. Is that what they're called? Russian Intelligence Service? I think it's FSB.
We don't know what Russian military or group it was. They were probably... Yeah. Lower end guys if they were cutting off ears on video.
Yeah, they were cutting the...
I think the higher end guys know not to videotape themselves.
Yeah, at least not to where you can see their patches. And
shit.
Yeah. But they cut off one of the alleged terrorists involved with the shooting at the concert venue not too recently. Yeah,
chopped his ear off and fed it to him.
Yep.
Saw the video.
Yeah, so did I. It's exactly what it says on the tin.
Yeah.
And apparently you saw the new video when they came into court, Spencer. And
I saw pictures.
They were beat
Their faces were all like, they just like blood
like
blisters everywhere.
Yeah, no, the youngsters at work showed me on Telegram. They're like, check this shit out.
Their faces look like fucking
He's like,
melons.
here's when they caught him. Here's when he went to arraignment the next day.
Yeah, I've also seen. Well, I mean, this is a bit of a tangent.
Put him through a cheese grater.
It is connected. I've seen a lot of news stories coming out of Gaza of children.
Good. We're getting back to the Jews
being starved. Let's not use the overall blanket terminology.
It's a joke.
Israel.
This is funny.
The government of Israel.
Yeah, Israel is not Jews. They're fucking
They're
just a big government, and that's all they are. They're fucking
corporate Western military industrial complex.
They're just like the United States government does not represent actual fucking Americans.
Yeah,
it's the same fucking thing. The government of Israel does not represent.
No.
All Jews.
Same when Russia invaded Ukraine, there was Russians all over the internet. And
I'll tell you that
saying, I ain't down
that
with
old
shit.
handy-capable fucker, governor of Texas, don't represent me.
Yeah,
I sure as fuck
Yeah.
am not represented by that guy.
Ugh,
But I am a Texan.
Sucks.
I will tell you I'm a Texan.
Yeah.
First and foremost, I am a Texan.
When are we going to succeed already?
Yeah,
succeed.
I'm kind of ready.
Succeed?
I'm kind of ready.
Yeah. There's, I can't remember if we're talking about it on recording or not, but all this child sacrifice stuff, I'm not going to lie, this is kind of what got me interested in this, because like I said, I thought there was going to be names named, I thought there was going to be, you know, groups targeted, some solid fucking evidence behind this age-old fucking argument for
Not
once.
a goddamn drop.
Nothing. And looking into it, I will say for Mr. Sarah McLachlan's credit that he does not back evangelical Christianity. He said himself he's scared of it.
I really like that.
Yeah, and
that is the one thing that really kind of made me like the guy.
Yeah. He is also scared of it, and he sees the danger inherent in it, especially like white Christian nationalism. but the instances throughout Christianity, as just an example specifically, I mentioned Israel earlier because they're doing it right now, but if you go through the Bible, I actually wrote down a specific quote that...
Is it about coming on the ground?
No.
You're not supposed to come on the ground.
When you look through the Bible...
Spitzer, you are a sinner.
The ground is lava when it comes to loads.
It's lava. It's lava. Don't go there. Yeah, when you look through the Bible, there are numerous instances of mentions of child sacrifice. I had the exact Bible
Child
quote
sacrifice, incest, it's all in there.
Yeah. I mean, there are moments when God threatens and commands his believers and followers. Like, I think it's Psalm 139:7 that says something to the effect of, like, blessed is he who bashes baby brains against the rocks, basically.
You're not going to catch that one on Sunday morning.
Yeah, there's no wiggle room for interpretation on that. And it's crazy because in all of, like, Bible scholarship, you have an entire field called apologetics who are like, oh, you gotta reinterpret it this way. But you also have all these pastors and shit who say that the Bible only has one true interpretation and that it's infallible word of God.
But then there's a lot of the ones that just skim around. They're like, it's all the word of God, but he was just...
Hey, he's just joking.
Hey,
Abraham, kill your kid.
I
didn't really mean for you to do it. I didn't think you were gonna do it.
Yeah.
You're a fucking crazy guy. Yeah. So, the Abrahamic religions are full of this shit. I don't know, it's sickening that, to me at least, they fucking point the finger at everyone else when their shit is so full of it.
Well, it's we're getting on a tangent here. We haven't even gone... That's the thing.
Well, we're jumping into the spicy meatball part of it for the chili, because child sacrifice is like the big...
So we're at the goddamn Carolina Reaper part of the chili?
Yeah.
The Megillah.
The Megillah.
Let's see, the whole Megillah. Let's see, commanded by the Semitic war god Yahweh, Psalm 137:9, I don't know how you read those, is a really good and / horrific example. It says... Blessed shall be he who takes your little ones and dashes them against the rock. There's no room for misinterpretation on that. That is God saying that in the Bible. I don't know if our listeners are familiar with the Darvo method. It's deny, attack, reverse victim, and offender.
Yes.
Yeah.
The CIA thing.
It's gaslighting on a mass scale.
I thought that was a disease that killed dogs.
That's parvo.
Parvo.
Oh, okay, yeah. It's also...
it has to do with poop, so
let's
poop
think of the
and...
DeVry Institute.
Something.
Toxoplasmosis.
Poop and rear ass. Rear orifice. Poop and rear orifice. Yeah, parvo.
Okay, that's something else. Look it up. Psalm 137:9, however you fucking say that shit.
All right, so...
Child sacrifice.
So all right. Well, it's child sacrifice, weird sexual, like that. That's the thing. He doesn't go into the lurid details. And we had 3 other books on Saturn that we skimmed ish.
There's one called The Game of Saturn that's about a specific tarot deck.
Which is very cool tarot deck if you look at it. The art is beautiful.
I think it's called Solabusca.
Solabusca, yeah. It's beautiful artwork on there.
Yeah, it is. It's
badass. Printed on using copper printing plates.
And it was the oldest one of record, right?
It's older. Not the oldest one.
It's the most well-preserved individual deck.
Okay. It was one of the oldest ones.
All these noble families during the Enlightenment and the Renaissance, like a lot of noble families had their own tarot decks, and this is one that is preserved that's connected to what I believe was called the d'Este family, D''Este. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but theirs is one of the ones that survived in full, and allegedly a lot of the pictures that are used in these tarot cards are illustrations of these fucked up blood sex, sacrifice rituals that they were into, and it's supposedly the most open interpretation you're going to get.
I do believe we skipped over the fact that the elites are trying to go back to the Golden Age.
Yes.
We did not discuss that in the age of Saturn, in this timeline, in his story, the golden age was right after the Purple Dawn when
there was no scarcity.
There was no scarcity. It's when Earth started to move around a little bit, but not entirely to where it had full days. That was the golden age.
And then we got time.
We got time, and we had seasons, but then eventually that led to the scarcity. That was the golden age. So what these elites supposedly are trying to do is bring back the golden age with these rituals, which involve mass killings. It's not all sex. It's not all fucking and coming and
like
fucking
wars are all
gross
ritual.
shit with kids. It's wars. Since Roman times, they said the priesthood in Roman times, the wars were actually mass sacrifices to appease them and get them.
I mean, that's child sacrifice in a way when you think about it, because it's sending all the young people to war. I mean, depending on your definition
it was just every man
sent off to die.
But nowadays, I mean, look who we send to fucking fight wars.
It's the youth. They're ready for that.
But the sort of underlying mythology that is really easy to find and verify is the sort of connections between Saturn or Saturnus with the Gnostic demiurge, aka the evil false creator, archons, things like that. A lot of Gnostic history stuff, and from there you can jump into alien shit if you want.
Much, and people do.
Yeah,
that's the thing. This chili, they canned it later, and then people at their houses put their own fucking shit inside the canned chili. This ain't Wolf Brand, bro.
Hormel.
They turned it into Hormel and Wolf Brand, and that
added beans to it.
Added beans. No, we're in Texas. We don't fucking put the beans in. This ain't goddamn fucking New Mexico.
Get those fucking beans out of my face.
Get them out of there. You can't put beans on a hot dog.
We're just talking about recipes that I can dig it.
Tasty masterpiece.
In trying to find some actual substantial beliefs in practice behind some of this stuff, the closest thing I could find in modern day, like occult literature and occult societies, there's a group out of Germany that was formed in the 1920s called the Brotherhood of Saturn. They're Crowley adjacent. It's a Gnostic electric sex magic.
Do they eat cum too?
Yes. He's
God, everybody
all the fluids.
Yeah, I've got some of their beliefs sort of encapsulated here, and then Spencer's gonna read off some of their the play-by-play of some of the rituals that they do.
Oh, really?
So and this is like a confirmed group. It's real. They've been around since the 20s.
Yeah, and Crowley did help found it, but he wasn't personally affiliated.
I like lighting candles. Influence. I like imbibing spirits. The second one of you guys pulls out your dick, I'm out of here.
Take it outside. So supposedly this group has influences going back to the 1600s. Not that can really be confirmed, but there's a sort of influence in Saturn gnosis and Saturn worship. Some of the quotes I have from their belief systems are, what might be of more widespread interest is the magico-religious insight into the supposed fact that the Aquarian Age will ultimately be ruled by the dark Saturno-Uranian Archon or Demiurge. It is only open to and known by the truly elect within a society. So some of this kind of lines up with what he's saying. Humanity is for the most part still dominated by an unyielding law of self-destruction that rules in all realms of being, organic as well as inorganic. Knowledge and experience of the arch-demonic principle embodied in Saturn can, however, free the initiate from the laws of cause and effect. Put another way, man can liberate himself from his own karma. And this is basically what he's saying that these elites are trying to do. They're trying to put themselves outside the laws that govern the plebes, basically. And that some of these blood, sex, whatever, sacrifice rituals, if you are, say, not one of the chosen elect, you can engage in these rituals still, and it's supposed to be geared towards, like reincarnation is a given in a lot of these belief systems, so that if you're not one of these select few families who run shit, when you die, you can be reborn into these select bloodlines.
I will just say that the entire time you were just talking, I was scrolling through the book to try to get past the part where he's bitching about bankers.
It's quite a bit.
It's quite a bit.
Keep on scrolling.
Yeah, I'm still going.
Let's see. In the Saturnian view, there certainly does seem to be a dark side to the age of Aquarius. The Saturno-Uranian reality looming behind this world of appearances may become one of a more or less enlightened system of control by a ruling elite, the final reign of the Illuminati, who as individuals may or may not be entirely aware of the source of their powers. So once again, that's jives with what Sarah McLachlan was saying about this being a intuitive, subconscious directive for a lot of what these people are supposedly doing. As far as like the salacious, juicy rituals go, I'm gonna hand that off to my man Spencer.
Oh, he knows all about the juiciness.
The Fraternus Saturni, this Berlin-founded German Saturn cult.
Always the goddamn Germans.
Well, this is where it gets awful
They're
German.
kinky doodle.
Yeah. It had foundations in the OTO.
Ordo Templi Orientis.
Freemasonry elements to it, too. As in particular, there was 33 degrees that can be attained by the initiate.
Ah, the fucking numbers.
Yeah.
The 33.
So, this is the juiciest one. This is the 18th degree.
Okay, yeah.
Right. Yeah, we'll just go straight to the...
Are we getting hard on this one?
We're going to the heart of the matter. The hard heart.
I wasn't moved at all.
No, it's pretty... I mean, it's like missionary, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, I mean, as far as, like, the dark, horrible shit, this sounds pretty tame.
Yeah, and it also states in here, in this book, that, you know, there was no non-consensual anything.
Yeah.
It was basically, you know...
Too much chili.
Yeah, excuse me. Delicious chili. You know, so basically it was like a sex ceremony. There would be a couple surrounded by a ring of, let's see, the chair, master of the chair, priest, priestesses, master of ceremonies, all wearing masks, all naked under their robes that they were wearing. And then you have this one fella.
Well, everyone's naked under
You
the
got
robes.
a fella sitting on parchment paper naked, who's the priest. The priestess would come up and they would have like a recognition ceremony, and then
who's fluffing?
Well, it's just the two of them in the middle.
He just fucking,
he is. He's charging his sigil.
Yeah,
He's charging his sigil. You know, getting ready, and then it says.
You were joking, but you're also absolutely correct.
Yeah.
That he's like making these symbols in the air with his wand and all kinds of shit.
He is, yeah.
I guess I do that every now and then too.
The priestess would say, "Kuf Ankh Herpokrat," and then all of a sudden she takes, she basically latches on, and if the penis is big and strong. She goes ahead and she plops down on it.
Okay.
And all around, the whole time, everyone around the circle is yelling, "Yalla! Yalla!"
Yeah, why apostrophe Allah?
Yeah.
Which I thought was weird as well.
Yalla.
I mean, they mentioned a bunch of different
What?
gods.
Wait, where did you extract this information from?
This is from the Fraternity Saturnus. The
Yeah,
Brotherhood of Saturn.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll put it in the sources.
So the master of ceremonies steps into the circle over these copulating couples. Oh, and I forgot to tell you this: they're fucking on parchment.
Yeah.
There's parchment laid on the.
No, you said the parchment.
Oh, okay.
I got a roll of
which also
parchment.
has symbols and sigils drawn on it.
Yeah.
Okay, I got
then
a roll
you
of
got
parchment in the fridge, or no, in the
I'll get you
cabinet.
some parchment right now. With stains.
With people fucking on it.
No, it's clean.
So the
from
MC
store.
comes in. He has a rooster in one hand and a dagger in the other. He makes a dramatic. Holds the dagger up. And cuts the chicken's head off over the copulating couple. Spills the blood on them while they're fucking. You know, the blood must pour over the copulating priest.
Yeah.
That's kind of the weakest fucking.
And then they both bring each other to orgasm. Like the priestess.
What if she doesn't
the
come?
Priest in the
What if she doesn't come?
Well, then the ceremony is failed.
All right, guys, let's be honest. She don't come most of the time.
I don't know. I mean,
well, I mean, this is obviously a rather sporting type of gal, you know.
Yeah.
So,
I think you gotta have a certain kind of disposition.
The priest is supposed to
engage.
She was probably waiting for the chicken blood.
It's very specific. The priest has to manipulate the clitoris of the priestess to get her to come at the same time.
Wait, so they got directions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the whole ritual.
Says
This is
it
the
all
whole
right here.
ritual is all put out.
Oh, so they know how to work it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all written. It's in the.
It's
They're
sex
not
magic.
amateurs.
It's sex
No.
magic, quote unquote.
And then you'll like this part. While the priestess is getting her clit manipulated, she jams a finger in the priest's keister.
Why would you think I would like
Well,
that
it's
part?
The root chakra.
Because the root chakra is associated with Saturn, and the root chakra is the prostate gland.
No shit.
Yeah.
I missed that part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
While we're
most
talking
people do.
prostate thumping, chode poking.
Oh, chode poking.
Yeah.
Wait a
Butts
minute.
spelunking.
Wait a minute. So my prostate is Saturn?
It's
Yeah.
associated with Saturn.
It's how you connect
Because
with
I
the
think
divinity
there's-
by sticking a finger in
Yeah.
there.
There's 7 chakras.
So which is each ball?
It's
Venus
not
and Mars?
balls. It's not balls. It's the prostate.
No,
The
but
gland.
okay, but if my fucking prostate is Saturn, what the fuck are each one of my balls?
Ganymede and Io.
and Titan, yeah, or whatever the moons of Saturn are.
Jupiter?
Because there's 7 chakras, and all the chakras align with major, endocrine glands in your body. So, like, you have the pineal gland is the third eye at the top or whatever, and then you have, like,
The brown eye, which is the base chakra.
yeah, that's
The bottom.
Saturn. The butthole is Saturn. Yeah, all the 7 chakras line up with major endocrine glands in your body, and it's supposed to be like all throughout, Eastern medicine and all that shit. Is the activation of chakras is supposed to
Audience,
be
if you could just see the look of disgust on my face right now.
the activation of these endocrine glands and the glandular secretions like bursting throughout your body and altering your mindset, etc., or your physiology and whatnot.
Yeah.
And each of the 7
It's like
chakras
the
has
post-coital
a
clarity, It's,
yeah.
it's a meditative thing.
Yeah, but the post nut clarity is the part where you're like, oh, this is disgusting. I need
am I
to wash
doing?
off.
Go wash your finger.
Yeah, like,
Don't point that thing at me.
is. Yeah.
And that's, this is the filthy, what is it where you stick your...
The Sleazy Rodriguez?
Sleazy
The
Rodriguez.
Filthy Sanchez?
The
Yeah,
Dirty
well, it's
Sanchez.
also called...
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to think of a German name. Never mind.
The Rusty Trumpet?
The rusty trombone.
Is that something funny
No.
about the word
That's when you're eating the
trombone?
ass from behind. When
Yeah.
And this is a ritual.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is a recorded...
The Filthy Schwartz. That's what it was originally called.
Again, I'm going to say I prefer our ritual where we just have a drink and light a candle. Can we just keep that our ritual?
This Schwartz is killing me.
The Schwartz is strong.
Yeah, this is just one... This is actually, like, the most openly saucy ritual. The guy who wrote this, he covers a lot of, like, runes and, like, Germanic magic. And he's actually a teacher from Austin. He covers a lot of Germanic magic, and he also included the 33rd degree ritual, which I didn't get to, but, like, he wrote in the opening, or someone wrote in the opening, that it's a controversial ritual. But I didn't see anything...
Most of all this stuff all this information we're getting, I feel like it's all just made up by the person writing it.
No.
No?
No.
So this ritual...
This happened.
This
is a
yeah, it
group.
happened. But how far do we have evidence that it actually happened?
Because
other
there's
than this
lots-
guy writing about it.
Because groups like this, like the Fraternus Saturnine OTO, they keep copious like meeting notes. And
Okay,
shit like
but
that,
they
and
didn't
their rituals are codified.
Okay,
you
but-
have to do the same thing every time.
I get that, but when did the OTO start?
1880s?
That's not that long.
I think so. Yeah.
It was like the 1800s. Okay,
but
so
it's
they
like-
just came up. Somebody made this shit up in the 1880s.
Everything's fucking made up.
I know, but I'm talking about it has no actual historical. Like it don't go.
Actually,
it don't go back to the gods.
It does actually. These sex magic rites allegedly are adapted from ancient tantric rites, which go way back to like pre-Buddhism, like old fucking Vedic religion, and what do you call it? The guys who worship Hindu.
I get that, but this interpretation and this specific thing,
Well, they
was
cater
made
it
up
to-
in the 1880s.
They cater it to their own belief system, like this specific group. Like
Man, why haven't I
Saturnosis.
fucking started a cult yet? God damn it! All these fucking assholes.
You gotta have the Riz.
I'm starting several.
God damn, Spencer! Don't you ever use Gen Z terminology around here again?
You gotta have the Riz, no cap.
For real.
You gotta be straight bussing with the Riz.
Yeah, no, we'll include the sources for sure, because yeah, he delineates all these rituals.
You know
what?
what?
This is just one specific group that I know of that out loud says we are going for the Saturnian gnosis. We worship Saturn and we exalt Saturn in our rituals.
I can dig that. I got to be a skeptic on.
Yeah.
I mean, because diving into this, I was excited because I was like, well, this guy has at least some kind of laid out thing. But then, as I got through it, I'm like, well, there's not actually any real concrete anything in here.
Yeah,
it proves me that it's not made the fuck up or just a weird. All of it really is just a weird interpretation and looking for the thing that you want to find in ancient stuff.
It's on a shaky foundation. I almost feel like
what is that? What is that? When you look into a cloud, what's the term for that? When you look into pareidolia.
Yeah.
It's pareidolia, except you're not seeing human things.
Apophenia, that's another kind.
It's you're just looking into history and seeing Saturn and child rape.
Yeah, I feel like he almost did like a Google search of Saturn and just went scrolling through.
I don't even think he did that.
That connects to that.
I don't think he did that at all. I think he went through an ancient history book and I could twist the wing on this thing into
and now the Nike symbol is the Saturn
exactly
ring. Bullshit.
It's a wing.
It's a wing.
And that wing was when Venus crashed into fucking Saturn and it looked weird and it was the chaos monster. It had an eyeball and 2 fucking wings. And now that wing looks kind of like the Nike swoosh. So now we got well,
when you put it like that, it just sounds crazy.
What are we doing with our lives, guys?
We're educating.
We're
entertaining.
I mean, I'm having fun. I'm not lying. This is I'm having a good time.
This is what I'm saying.
We're doing the hard work, so you, the listener, doesn't have to.
Yeah, you're welcome, America and extended international audience. Once again, we delve into this. So
shout out to my Belgians.
I read the whole goddamn 2018 version of Saturn Death Cult, and when I finished, I was like, man, fuck this. This is a waste of my time. Because I thought it was going to be so different. I thought there was going to be some extra shit to it.
I'm scrolling. I want to read the conclusion.
There is some interesting parts, but it turns out it's the Jews once again. So it's another.
Well,
one of
let me find. I'm trying to find the conclusion. I've been scrolling. It's a goddamn 482 page goddamn. It said a booklet, but no, it's a lie.
Shit screed.
And it's just so
Master of the chair steps into the circle and grasps the knife. Then he positions himself at the head of the copulating pair. He has a living black rooster, holds the fluttering animal over the pair, and cuts the animal's head off with a single stroke. The blood must pour over the copulating pair. And then, on that ritual, all the blood and cum collects on a sigil on some paper, and then they, burn it in a brazier to fucking appease the god or demiurge Saturn or whatever. Yeah.
That's a heady aroma there.
Okay, so shall we bring it into modern times, guys?
Sure, yeah.
All right, so my introduction, as I mentioned earlier, was just the fucking Saturn Storm Cube Reddit page.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how, through looking at conspiracy bullshit, that popped up, and I'm like, oh, this is interesting, and it's fucking weird, and I liked it. But those people, again, to bring up the chili reference again, they have just fucking...
Red Hot Chili Peppers.
The chili tastes like shit now.
Blood sugar sex magic.
It's been... if you...
You got turkey and beans all in it.
This ain't gumbo.
Yeah.
Chili.
Yeah. Turkey,
Chili
beans.
Willy.
Somebody put fucking... Ketchup.
Oh. Ugh.
And brown... too much...
Cinnamon.
Cinnamon!
Get that shit out of here.
Alright, so now everyone looks into everything, like we were saying, the Nike symbol, and there is so much of this they're like, look at Saturn. And the funniest thing I found yesterday was the guy that was a flat earther that somehow still put in this cosmological theory of Saturn into his flat earth theory in the elites. It's like, okay, you believe that the firmament is getting a projection of the Saturn, that these people it doesn't even align with the
it's cherry picking.
It's cherry picking, but at the same, it's like, yo, you didn't even start with the baseline chili. You didn't even start with the baseline chili.
You're making a cobbler or some
Yeah,
shit over here.
yeah. No.
I don't know what the fuck's going on.
No, it was a fucking borscht or some shit. Like, I don't know what the fuck they're making.
I think that's Tartaria.
No, the Tartario is in there, actually. And,
Oh, God.
and that is the borscht. Yeah. The borscht, in fact, God, do we need to write a book on how the Saturn is chili? And
I thought you were going to say, should we start a cooking podcast?
I think it's a pretty cogent metaphor. I think
we're pretty good with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, the borscht of the fucking flat Earth Saturn conspiracy. What the fuck is wrong? If you look at all of these symbols,
it's fucking gazpacho.
I don't like gazpacho.
What is that anyway?
Go back to Russia!
they do point everything uses, like, there's so much space. There's the Earth. God damn it, I have to pull it up. But I had the whole picture.
It's like the flat Earth versus hollow Earth people. And who picks what to go in their overarching... You know what it is? It's people who are trying to come up with an omni-conspiracy. It's the people who want to create a conspiracy that has all the other conspiracies.
And then they work in the Black Sun. They call it the Black Sun, but then they add in the Nazi Black Sun.
Yeah.
Which is fucking...
And that was supposedly Saturn.
And that was supposedly Saturn and all that shit. But fucking... that was a whole different fucking occultish fucking thing.
Yeah.
That the Nazis had. That was their own. Leave it. Let them have it. Let them have it. Okay? You know? Like,
Nazi can't catch a break these days.
Yeah. Was it Goring? Was it? No, it was who? What was the minister of propaganda?
Goebbels.
Goebbels was the guy that did the
baby food.
Goebbels baby food. And then you got the all-seeing eye, of course, the goddamn Mason stuff, and then the starburst thing. They're saying that's Saturn too.
And 8-pointed stars. That was another thing.
And swastikas, crosses, iron crosses, Roman and Greek, everything. The all-seeing eye, the top of the pyramid. I like that there's sequence. Like, you know, anybody, shout out to Fools Gone Wild. This one says seek oneness, but I read it as sequence. They've literally put any symbol. Yeah. This motherfucker shows up.
Starbucks symbol.
This one,
it's a girl spread.
It's a picture of a chain link fence. And they're saying it's the sigil of Saturn in a sin wave.
Yeah, it's throwing anything at the wall to see what sticks.
www, World Wide Web, which apparently they also say is 666. Yeah, but I don't speak fucking Hebrew. But they say that it's Hebrew.
Supposedly NASA is Hebrew for to deceive.
Yeah, no, and
that's why the Nazis who invented it.
I think most of that's the thing.
They'll never think it's us.
All these interpretations.
Reverse psychology.
Oh, here's a fun one. Kris Jenner turned 66 on the day of Astroworld.
I knew it.
Jenner, all right.
Wait, what?
This yeah. See. Okay, this one uses gematria and uses Kris Jenner and Moloch. We didn't even get into Moloch. We didn't even fucking dabble our balls in Moloch.
Same shit.
That's because
same chili, different day.
We were talking about it before recording, and I think the Moloch.
None of it has anything to do with anything.
They're pretty tenuous at best.
Yeah, but this one is using gematria to Kris Jenner and Moloch have 66 in English. 30 in full reduction, 30 in single reduction, 30 in full reduction, 30 in single reduction. I don't even know what this fucking means. And
then, how does every word convert into a number somehow?
Well, it does. That's a thing. There's a thing.
There's established systems that assign, like Kabbalah and gematria.
They're still fucking made up.
But I mean, you got to go by the rules of what they're.
But
they just make shit up.
Gematria was originally in fucking Hebrew. All these assholes are doing it in English.
Yeah.
So
it doesn't quite
it doesn't fucking work.
Yeah.
So anytime that's how they figured out JFK was coming back, was gematria.
You don't remember when JFK came back?
No, they were still waiting at the hotel like a while back.
Oh my god.
I guess they're gone now.
You guys remember in 1997 when Skynet went active?
Yeah.
Good times.
The world's never been the same.
Yeah, there's this whole quote-unquote conspiracy branches off into so many fucking convoluted directions. It involves everything. Like we said, this is a attempt at an omni-conspiracy, and just about every time you have an omni-conspiracy, they fall apart real goddamn quick
But
under close
It's
examination.
very much like chili types when you go from region to region.
Yeah.
You know, it's like some do beans, some do without, and
Yeah.
some do, you know, cinnamon, some do without. But you know what? You can't make a single bowl of chili and say this is what chili is.
All I know is Alex Jones has so much chili that he's going to eat it till he can't remember who his kids are.
Yeah. The real question is, did Troy D. McLaughlin ever get out of fucking credit card debt?
He's on his way, I think.
Because that's the thing.
I like to think he is.
He created the perfect one of the perfect conspiracies
For the modern times.
for the modern times, because people eat it. They take a bite of that chili, and they're like, you know, that's the thing. He made the chili. People are eating it.
Yeah.
He's at the chili cook-off. He may not win, but you know what?
the chili cook-off.
Everybody's fucking eating his fucking chili.
Wait till you feel it coming out the other end there. He was even like using like Hillary Clinton quotes in that third part of the 2018.
Hey, look, it's not a real conspiracy if you don't throw in fucking HC in there, you know?
Yeah. Oh, boy.
HRC. You got to throw in that Rodham.
HR Geeker. Oh,
Rodham.
I call her Hillary Rodham Clinton.
I saw some pictures of young Hillary Clinton when she was in her 20s. She could rot him.
Yeah.
Rodham.
Car Ramrod.
Rodham Cowboy.
Okay, yeah, we did our best to cover this
We tried.
as much as we could, like the really salient points within the time frame
I-
we think you'll like to pay attention.
We did it so you didn't have to. But if you really
Yeah.
want to read, don't pay for, but go and find, on somewhere.
Download
Actually,
a PDF.
I'm
It's not
pretty
hard to
sure you
find.
could just go to his website and read it for free.
read pretty much all
Yeah,
this shit.
and we
'Cause it was
implore
broken
you
up into
to make sense of this better than we have,
Yeah.
because it's you really can.
You do it. And then you can email us, kooksandcranks@gmail.com,
Please
and tell
do.
us what the fuck is going on with some of this stuff, because we're just
Book report. Actually, I would, because the entire time I was doing this, I felt like I was making a book report, and I ran out of time to actually make the real book report, so you just got me sipping bourbon and talking shit. But that's pretty much what you get every week.
Hey, at least we weren't yelling, it's bullshit, like the entire time.
Well,
so.
you know what? I was...
Bullshit, and I don't like it.
Yeah. I'm...
A little more open-minded.
Y'all, give me a break. Give me a break.
Hey, I was talking about myself, too, because when I finished reading the book, I was immediately texting both of y'all saying, this is fucking bullshit!
Yeah,
and I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
angry after
No,
I
Like,
finished it.
God damn, all expletive caps.
Oh, boy. Okay. So, yeah, that's the Saturn Death Cult, we think.
It's not. It continues.
Yeah, it's still going. It's like a fucking snowball downhill avalanche.
I think I'm about to get a little more active on our socials and start posting stuff, and I will post a few screenshots of random ass fucking Saturn memes.
Yeah.
Saturn
Saturn.
conspiracy memes.
Oh, because it's black and round.
Yeah.
No,
the
wait.
Black sun.
It's square, Spencer.
It's the sun with
That's a
the-
black.
Well,
cube.
what is it? What
Let
is
it
a cube
unfold.
but a flat 2D?
No, you fucked it up, Spencer.
Hexagon.
You fucked it up.
Hexagram.
Hexagonad.
I like it a hexagram. I like a gram.
Hexagonads.
It's a hexagram.
Hexagoids.
You know
You
what?
can get chili by the pound or by the gram, but you can only get it here. Hey.
Shout out to Misty for cooking us a delicious dinner in the middle of our
Catered
podcast.
by Misty.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Once again,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
it's a beautiful meal.
We'll be back next week with some hyper paranoid, crazy, weird science shit. This is gonna be
Yeah,
some of
because we
our-
haven't done anything hyper paranoid.
And the follow up to the P. Diddy house raid.
Yeah. We will be continuing with some stories, but
Because we didn't even go that far into it being the celebrities being the elite. Because, I don't know, most of y'all know about the celebrities and the elite being child sacrifice fucking people.
I think we'll probably do a whole Hollywood
sex perverts.
thing at some point.
Fucking sex perverts.
Knights of Satan Circle with an S. So yeah, this has been Kooks, Cranks, and Iconoclasts. I'm your host, Mike Luck.
Spencer Lowry.
Christopher Wells. Follow me at Christ ACAB and ACAB Industries and Kooks Cranks at Kooks and Cranks at gmail.com.
All right, we'll see you next week, folks. Thanks for listening.
Bye.